100 years then, Toastmasters has helped people from all over the world become more confident speakers, communicators, and leaders. So the tally of now, we've got 365,000 members, over 145 countries, totaling up to 16,000 clubs, truly an international organization. Today's program, in fact, was actually an effort organized by two different Toastmaster divisions, Division E and G, with members coming from Brunei, uh, two different places in Malaysia, and a plethora of areas in Indonesia. So we truly could not have done it without the effort and resources of everyone combined in these two divisions. So let me move on to what will be happening today. This agenda is designed to showcase the different stages of learning of Toastmasters. We begin with the first part with a workshop from Dr. Hary Elias himself, detailing the ways in which we can make technical presentations even more interesting and vibrant. After a short break, we'll proceed to a demo meeting where we will demonstrate a taste of what Toastmasters have to offer. I'll keep it to here from now, because the first part of our agenda will be the opening remarks. And we'll be inviting one of our district leaders in charge of Toastmasters spanning all the three countries of Brunei, Indonesia, and Malaysia. It is with my greatest honor that we will please now invite our incoming program quality director, currently the club growth director, our distinguished Toastmaster, Agustinus Wijaya. Agus, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Ling Ling. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests. I joined Toastmasters 4 years ago with only one goal in mind: to conquer my fear of public speaking. At that time, my initial plan was to learn to manage my fear of public speaking. And as soon as I can manage that fear, I was planning to quit Toastmasters. But after a while in Toastmasters, I realized that having the courage to speak alone was not enough. I realized that giving an interesting presentation and maintaining the audience's attention was not an easy task. In Toastmasters, we can learn and practice so many tips and tricks to deliver an interesting presentation and maintaining the audience's attention. Today, Toastmaster Hary Elias will share with us the tips and tricks to make our presentation interesting so that our audience would want to keep listening to our presentation. And at the second part of today's event, we can see how Toastmasters meeting is conducted as a way for members to practice their public speaking skills. So, fellow Toastmasters and honorable guests, without further ado, let us enjoy today's event. Make your presentation pop. Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster Ling Ling.
Thank you very much, Agus. That was a very warm, welcoming remark indeed, and it really does set the tone for today. Now, for everyone here, some of you might be wondering, who is this Hary Elias? What qualifies him to speak today on this workshop about technical presentations? Well, Dr. Hary Elias is a man of many talents and of many persuasions. Hary spends a good part of every week listening to technical presentations on projections, processes, and factor analysis. Very interesting stuff, and presentation in dire need of being made interesting so that the audience may listen to them. As the managing principal of a venture capital fund, Dr. Hary is no stranger to boring technical presentations. With a background in law, securities, regulations, and business from two of the best universities in the world, Hary is fighting his personal crusade to get everyone to make more interesting and engaging technical presentations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest pleasure to now call upon to the stage Advanced Communicator Silver, Dr. Hary Elias with his presentation, Make Your Technical Presentations Pop. Dr. Hary, the floor is now yours.
Thank you very much, Ling Ling, Toastmaster Ling Ling. So, good morning, fellow Toastmasters and all our guests. Yes, you all torture your audiences, don't you? You torture your audience, you give a technical presentation, and inevitably, it always comes out slightly boring. And I will just tell you that just yesterday morning, I had to listen to 3 deck presentations. These are presentations of investors, of people who want investment money. And they come to me and they say, could you just give us some money? And they have like 5 minutes to tell me about their company. And they are inevitably boring. But yesterday we had a great one. So congratulations if you are here. So this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be looking at technical presentations. Now, let me put it in context that the technical presentations I'm talking about doesn't necessarily mean the sciences or the engineers or the mathematicians. What we're talking about is where you have to present data and where you're presenting data to inform, and the data can be of any type of persuasion, just to borrow a word from Ling Ling. It can be perhaps you might be a priest, a pandita, who's giving a speech about 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17. That is, in a way, a technical presentation. You might, for example, be an engineer having to explain a process. You might be a university student who is presenting your research in terms of a sociological or an anthropological question. So technical presentations do not necessarily mean something of a science or engineering background. It's not just that kind of data. It is all sorts of data when you have to inform your audience. And this morning, what we are going to do is to look at a few of the tips and tricks and strategies that you can use. I already see some people putting their hands here and saying, my God, this is going to be so boring. I promise you it's not going to be boring. I'm going to make you work. This is a 45-minute workshop, and the focus is on the word work. Guess what? I'm not going to do the work. You are going to do the work. So let me share my screen with you and we'll start right now. Now, as I go through the presentation, you will also see that I'll be using a lot of the strategies that I'm going to be talking about. So listen very carefully. It's not just what I'm saying, but how I'm saying it and what you are doing as the audience. I want you to understand the strategies and experience the strategies. Then later, you are quite welcome to go and experiment with all the bells and the whistles. So let's start. So what exactly is a technical presentation? I'm going to give you what's called breakout rooms. And the whole idea is for us to experience a breakout room. So in your breakout rooms, you're going to stay there just for 60 seconds. And you're going to discuss the question, what is a technical presentation? Now, you must be prepared to share your ideas in your room, and you will then come back into the big room, and then we'll get 1 or 2 of you to come and tell us what you discussed during that 1 minute. So I will ask the Zoom master, could we please have the breakout rooms and go
Yeah, we're just testing, this is what Hary will be using. I mean, he would this is a strategy that you need to use if you want to make a technical presentation. So just give you a taste to be in a breakout room, or if you've never been to one, this is how it feels. And so if you're a presenter, you want to send your participants to do some work in the breakout room. All right. So we can chat. We just, there's nothing. So anything you would like to ask, you can ask me. If not, just let me see who is here. There is Adam. Where are you from, Adam?
I'm from Sarawak, Bintulu, Sarawak.
From where?
Bintulu, Sarawak.
Hey, great. There's Sunny. Hi, Sunny. I know you don't want to put your video on, but I know who you are.
In Palu Toastmasters now?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Oh,
Okay.
I see.
So is everyone back? Let's just check.
I think so.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Right, fantastic, everybody. So let's get one or two reactions. I know you didn't have a lot of time. Aaron King. Aaron, hi. Could you unmute yourself, please? Right, so what do you think a technical presentation was?
Okay, for me, I think that a technical presentation is the way of presenting a topic to your audience and communicate with them, enlighten them in a way that engages the audience so that they feel like you're actually communicating with them instead of just communicating with yourself.
Fantastic. Fantastic. A round of applause, please. Everybody with an icon. A round of applause for Aaron. That's exactly it. It's the communication. Did you get a chance, by the way, Aaron, to talk specifically about a technical presentation? What in your view is a technical presentation? Go ahead, Aaron.
Yes, that was my view.
Okay, so that's what you came up with. Fantastic.
Yes.
So listen carefully. So the breakout rooms is just one of the things that you can use. The advantage, of course, of a breakout room when you're doing a technical presentation is you can put them in groups. And for those people who haven't used breakout rooms before or previously, you should go to Zoom and fiddle around with it. If you're using Google Meet, you can have breakout rooms as well, and it works equally well there. And what I wanted you to do just now was simply to experience, just the experience of when you can use a breakout room. Obviously, this is truncated. We only have 45 minutes, but breakout rooms is certainly one of the things you want to use. So use them intelligently, especially when you want people who don't know each other. Let's say you have a big group of people and they don't know each other. What you want to do is to get them to talk to each other and at least to meet and interact with each other. So breakout rooms are a great way to make your technical presentations. Now, before we move on, how often do you make technical presentations? So I'm going to put a poll, and our Zoom master, TM Denny, is going to put up a poll, and I'll give you about 30 seconds just to fill in this poll. So could you launch poll, please, Danny? Thank you. Go ahead and vote, everyone. Right, a few of you haven't voted. Please vote. I see 60 have voted, 61. We're almost there. 92, come on. If you haven't voted, let's keep going just for a few more seconds. And right, let's end the polling at the moment and look at our data from our group. There are 8%, lucky you, who never have to give a technical demonstration. The lucky 8%. The rest of us, 92%, have to do it. 10% say they regularly use, they have to make technical presentations. So you are perhaps or probably more an expert in this area than I am. Let's just be honest, because you do it so often. And I hope that you'll be able to get something, maybe one or two strategies that you can pick up from this session this morning. Now, what's interesting is the sometimes and often, that's more than half of you. That's 56%. And 56% of us sometimes or very often would have to make a technical presentations. And I want to at least listen and participate in this morning session so that you can actually get something from this presentation. So thank you very much, Danny, for that. So let's launch now directly into the strategies. If technical presentations are boring, and they generally are, how do we make them pop? Let's go straight away to the nub. It's called active learning strategies. Take it down if you want. Get a pencil. I'm an old-fashioned digital dinosaur, so I actually write things down on a piece of paper. I don't like putting it there. So you want to use active learning strategies. And this is what is meant by active learning strategies. Active learning strategies is basically getting your audience invested, getting your audience involved in your technical presentation. And one simple way is to make sure you tell a story. There is nothing more boring than having to sit down and listen to data and listening to processes. It is far more engaging when you can turn your data into a story, because people appeal to stories. They like listening to stories. And as a person making a technical presentation, I'm always mindful that I want to tell a story. Let me give you an example. Let's say you are going to give a briefing of an absolutely boring process called turning seawater in by solar energy, the effect of solar energy on seawater. I mean, how more dry can you be than that topic? And if you're presenting, for example, this, one strategy of turning it into a story is by, for example, saying, all right, Miranda, imagine that you are one molecule of water. One molecule of water going through this entire process. You're going to get solar energy on you. How do you feel at that point of time? What happens to you in the evacuated evaporation chamber? What a mouthful. What happens when electricity is created? What happens to you as a water molecule? Now, in that way, what you've done is you've made it easier for your audience to retain the information. Remember, in a technical presentation, it's all about retaining the technical data, understanding it. And that's one way that you can create a story around what is essentially technical data. Now, another way to do it, which is very common and very common for Toastmasters, I've seen this many times, is people would tend to say, well, imagine you live on a desert island. Well, I'm thinking of Singapore, well, not desert island, but imagine you live on an island with no water. And you want to, and you're surrounded by water because you're in an island, and now you want to create water. You're a rich country. One of the ways is to do this. So imagine Pa Ali or Mr. Lee, who lives in Singapore. This is one. So you create a story around your data. And that is one very effective strategy for making your technical presentation pop. So think about it, either you contextualize your data, turn it into a homely story, or alternatively, tell one of your participants and you say, Ellen Jobit, you are a molecule of water. Now, what's happening to you here? What's happening to you there? And then you take them around the cycle. And it's so effective because then you can then ask Ellen Jobit and say, well, how did you feel in the evacuated evaporation chamber? What actually happened to you? And I promise you, Ellen Jobit will remember the process far more effectively than if you simply went through the cycle. Tip number 2, I'm going to go very fast because we don't have a lot of time, obviously. And I call this KISS. KISS, K-I-S-S. Write it down, please. Keep it simple, stupid. Okay? And what it basically means is we don't use the difficult words. Use the appropriate language. Basically means if there's an easier word to use the easier word. Unless you're talking about a technical process. If, for example, there is carbon dioxide, then you have to use carbon dioxide. If you're talking about physiotherapy, use physiotherapy. But everything else, other than these technical words, can actually be made far more easier, and it will be far more easier for your audience to retain what you're trying to tell them. Okay, so you use technical terms only when necessary. Another way to do it is to repeat your key takeaways. So it's very vocabulary based. Let me explain. When we're going through technical presentations, you want to have your audience write down your key takeaways, exactly like I said just now. Tip number 1, write it down. Say the word, write it down, so that physically your audience does something. The worst thing you can do is to have your audience sit down, listen to you talk for 1 hour, they'll get nothing. You need them to write it down. So tell your audience, write it down. It's such a simple thing to do, and so few presenters actually do it. Tip number 3, always use examples and a problem-based narrative. Let me explain. What's a problem-based narrative? People want to solve problems. In a technical situation, people are always trying to solve a problem. And it is human nature, especially for the masculine men, to want to solve every problem in the world. And that's the trick and the tip that you use. You couch it in terms of a problem. So you could say, for example, imagine that you have no water, but you have lots of money. Think of Kuwait, think of Iraq, think of Singapore, lots of money, no water. What could you do? So you couch it in terms of a problem, because problems are relatable. People relate to them. They're easier to understand rather than simply going through data after data and the data. And it contextualizes things because the audience can now see how the data actually relates to them. One of the easiest way to do it is to tell your audience. So here's another tip for you. You tell your audience, at the end of this session, there's going to be a test. At the end of this session, there's going to be a written test. Now that immediately alerts your audience. Oh my God, I actually have to do something. I've got to listen to this guy because I don't want to embarrass myself or embarrass my company by not being able to answer the questions. Okay, now let's look at this boy. As I said, I have to go very fast. So Alberto, he's bored by the presentation. What can we do to ensure that he's listening? Very simple, right? Questions. You question your audience. There's a Q&A at the end, but that doesn't mean that you can't question your your audience. For example, I could ask Mr. Fong, hi Fong, could I, Fong Kim Sang, can I just interrupt your tea drinking and ask you what questioning techniques, why do you think questioning techniques are important? You see, immediately Fong goes like, okay, like everyone's looking at me now. So, and that basically keeps everybody on their toes. So for example, Alan is not going to be able to pick up his handphone and do his WhatsApp messages. I can see him smiling now. I'm just so sorry. I'm picking on people simply because you are in my screen. So I'm just picking names out of a hat, literally. And the questioning during the presentation is extremely important. It really keeps your audience on their toes, not on your toes. You see, when we make technical presentations, very often, and I don't know if you will agree with me, very often people would tend to think, okay, I just want to get through this. I just want to finish this 30 minutes of explaining my product to you. Now, most of the time, and please be honest, you're either on your handphone or you're on another website, and some people just log on without actually listening to anything. The best way to do it is to simply call their names. And you'll find this extremely effective. You could say, for example, Najib. Hi, Najib. Love your little blue chair. And immediately Najib goes like, oh God, the presenter's talking to me, right? And he's nodding his head. And that is so essential. Questioning and just picking names out of a hat simply keeps people on their toes. So ask a lot of questions. And right, what happens when you have too much data to share? Now, often we have to refer to graphs, pie charts, diagrams, and processes. Now, when you have too much data to share, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't disclose all your data. What you need to do is to be able to orientate your audience, okay? So let me give you a quick example. Let's say you have this absolutely boring presentation of percentage of total music shared by streams, downloads, CDs purchased for so many years, and there's a large graph. Now, it is extremely boring for your audience, and I see this done every day. I mean, people torture me by coming and telling me what is obvious. What you need to do is to focus on what the graph is there for. So whenever you have a pie chart or a process, the first question you ask yourself as a presenter is this: why am I showing this? Why? What is the key takeaway from the graph that you are showing? Now, obviously, I'll give you an example. In this graph, you want to explain that streaming music, which is in blue on your screen, the streaming music shows an upward trend, whereas downloads and CDs purchased are on a downward trend. So that's what you want to say. So first thing you do is you orientate your audience to your graph. And there's a very set way of doing it. I'll just share with you how I do it. I'm going to do it very quickly, and you can either type it out or, as a digital dinosaur, use the trusty old pen and paper. And this is what you say. This graph illustrates the relationship of the different percentages of ways in which music is electronically or purchased, either electronically or non-electronically purchased, from 2011 to 2018. What I'd like you to focus on is streaming. And you will see that streaming showed an upward trend from 2017 and 2018 onwards to almost 50%, whereas the other two showed downward trends. So that's all you need to do, because that's the key takeaway. You orientate, then you give them the key takeaway. What often happens is that people say, I'm going to show you a graph. You will see that in 2011, the CDs purchase was 35%, and the stream was 5%, and 55% was by CDs. In 2012, blah, 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 blah. By the time you get to 2015, you've lost your audience. You don't want to do that. You orientate your graph, give them the key takeaway, and then run away from your graph like I am doing now. So here it is, a quick summary. In case you were very naughty and you didn't write it all down, here's what an interactive technical presentation is about. Remember, we're talking about online as well as offline. All right. Yeah. Equally, you can use them equally in both systems. And here it is. You remember to ask a question. You can take it down if you don't have it. Involve your audience. Use your chat box and icons. Keep it simple. KISS, right? Use examples and focus on relevant data. That's all you need to do. You want to focus on relevant data. So let's go on now to the I'll stop sharing this particular slide share, and I will say that the PowerPoint will be available to you. If you stay to the end, you'll get a copy of that PowerPoint. I am sounding a little rushed, but that's because we don't really have a lot of time, because I'm now going to give you a demo technical presentation. And this demo technical presentation is not going to be about science, maths, or engineering. It's going to be something that everybody hates. And I'm going to teach you grammar. Grammar. How more boring can a grammar lesson be? And we're going to do this grammar lesson. I'm going to torture you for the next 10 minutes. And before you do this particular grammar, before I do this particular grammar presentation, this is what I want you to do. So let me get this organized. Give me a second. Right. A grammar, let me stop sharing this. I don't want you to see the whole PowerPoint. The grammar lesson is basically about knowing a word, okay? And knowing a word simply means, how do you know a word, okay? Okay, I'm a bit confused here because my screen's going all over the place. It might be the Google doing a lot of, it's running on its own steam. Let me get that, okay. I'm going to do a short demonstration, and these are the 3 questions I would like you to ask and answer. The first question is what I liked about the presentation. So at the end of the presentation, it's going to be some feedback. It's for you to evaluate me. In Toastmasters, we're always evaluating each other. So I'd like you to evaluate. What did you like about the presentation? Very general question. What could have been improved in the presentation? So if you were doing this, what would you have done differently? And the third question is strategies. Watch what I do and see if you can recognize the strategies that we talked about just now in the last slide, okay? And so these are the 3 questions. Please take them down very quickly. Good. So now just let me check with you. Are you ready for my demonstration? If you are ready for my demonstration, please give me a virtual thumbs up, everyone. Give me a virtual thumbs up if you are ready for my demonstration. Let me see. Yes, yes. Give me a virtual thumbs up. Come on, give me some rara so that I can do this. And I see Abel's brought his kids. Hi, thank you, Dinda. Thank you, Plus. Thank you, Zumisa. Thank you, Khadija. Fantastic. So here's a demonstration of an absolutely boring topic. But as you're listening to it, I want you to look and think about how I present this grammar point. knowing a word. Let's start. My fellow Toastmasters and guests, you know that as Toastmasters, we're always trying to learn new words. And in wanting to learn new words, there's actually a framework for learning new words. And I want to share this framework with you. So the title of my presentation is Knowing a Word. Knowing a word. How do you actually get down and dirty and really understand a new word as if it was your new wife? Right, so let's get down and dirty. There are actually 5 different aspects of knowing a word. And I'll just give them to you. It's a mouthful, but I'll ask you to just listen at this point of time. You know a word semantically, phonetically, grammatically, collocationally, and connotationally. All right? So those are the important things. There are 5 ways of knowing a word and understanding a new word. So when you come across a new word, these are the 5 things that you want to know about the word. So let's start. First, semantically. Write down the word semantically. What does it mean to understand the word semantically? Basically, it's the most important and most common, the most basic part of knowing your wife. I mean, your word, okay? Your new word, not new wife. That's an incorrect reference. Of knowing a word. It's to know the word semantically. And what semantically means is simply knowing the meaning of the word. Most people just want to know the meaning of a word, and that is to know the word. For example, what is rain? What is hujan? What is market? What is love? What's a woman? All right, so these are just understanding the word semantically. But my fellow Toastmasters and guests, there are other ways of understanding and really knowing a word. The second one is to understand the word phonetically. I'll say the word. Can you please say the word where you are? You don't have to unmute yourself. Don't unmute, just practice it. Phonetically. Say phonetically. Good. I can see many mouths moving. Fantastic. Phonetically. And this is, of course, of special interest to Toastmasters. You want to know, and it's basically, how do you say a word, right? You want to be able to pronounce the word correctly, and that's called understanding the word phonetically. Now, of course, there are accents and regional variations. So some people might say football, 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 but you want to be able to at least get some kind of standard to be able to say the word phonetically, okay? You want to understand the word phonetically. Now, the third way, please write this down. The third way of knowing a word is to understand it grammatically. Grammatically. And grammatically, you want to understand especially how do you spell it, so that when you look at the word, you can recognize it and you can read it. And if you have to type in a word on the keyboard or you have to write it down, like me, on a piece of paper, you can write the word. So that's understanding it grammatically. So you want to know as well, is it a verb? Is it a noun? A verb is basically an action word, a kata kerja. A noun is a kata benda, or is it, and that can give you clues as to how you can use the word, right? So how do you use the word in a sentence? That then also is a question you want to ask yourself when you want to understand the word grammatically. So let's just review this again. The question at the topic, is it only important for grammarians? Okay, for non-Toastmasters, I will tell you that the grammarian is someone who listens to the entire meeting and then comments on the grammar. So the grammarian is like the grammar Nazi. He will come and tell you in a nice way, of course, Hary, you used the wrong word, or it's the wrong sentence, or you mispronounced the word. And you'll see that later in our demo Toastmasters meeting. But basically, the third way of knowing a word is to understand the word grammatically, right? Now, are you confused yet? Let's quickly review. It's fine if you're confused. This is might be a new framework for you. So the three ways of knowing a word so far that we've looked at is semantically, the meaning of the word, phonetically, understanding how to say the word, and then grammatically, how to use the word in a sentence. Is it present tense, past tense? How do you spell the word? And so those are the three. Now let's move on to something a little more tricky. The fourth and the fifth way of understanding a word. It's called collocationally and connotationally. Big words, collocations and connotations. So listen carefully, this gets a bit dicey for lots of people. So collocationally basically means where words come together. They're always co-located, words that always come together in a little phrase. Let me give you an example. Cooking the books, making the bed. So the word like making the bed is actually one idea, and the words make a bed is one idea. Although there are three words, they are always co-located. It basically means, and you understand the word co-locationally, right? I'll give you an example of the problem, okay, of collocations. Strong and powerful, kuat, K-U-A-T in Bahasa Indonesia or Bahasa Melayu, is exactly the same word, kuat, right? They mean the same thing. Strong and powerful mean the same thing. But if you don't know the co-location of strong and powerful, that can cause you trouble. You might say a strong cup of coffee, which is correct, or you would say a powerful computer, but you would not say a powerful cup of coffee, and you wouldn't say a strong computer, because those are the incorrect co-locations of the word strong and powerful. So correct, a strong cup of coffee, correct, a powerful computer, bad, incorrect, a powerful cup of coffee. Oh, I've got a powerful cup of coffee. Everybody looks at each other and goes, this guy must be Asian. Doesn't understand the collocation of the word, if they were grammarians, of course. But that's understanding the word collocationally. Now, the last way, and this is the fifth way, just to remind you of understanding the word, is to understand the word connotationally. And connotations is the implied or the suggested meaning of a word. For example, if I invited you to my house, I could say, welcome to my home. I could say, welcome to my house, which has different sort of connotations. I could say, welcome to my palace. I could say, welcome to my pad, which is a totally different way of saying it. So it's all about appropriacy, and there's a common mistake that lots of people make. So 5 aspects of knowing a word: semantically, phonetically, grammatically, collocationally, and connotationally. So I hope that I've equipped you with a little framework that you can use to know a word. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of a demonstration. And I hope that you will either give me a round of applause or some thumbs up or something to indicate that you are still with me. Thank you very, very much. And I will stop sharing my screen for a second. Right, thank you very much. So that was the demonstration of a technical, totally boring idea, the framework of knowing a word. So let's go back to the questions that I asked before you saw the demonstration. And the first question is, what did you like? What did you like about the demonstration? So have a few seconds to think about that, and I will call one or two of you to actually tell me what you thought about the demonstration and what you liked about it. Okay, so let's just, the lucky people who are in my photograph in my screen at the moment, I've got a grammarian here. Let me see who yes, she's smiling already. I don't see the name. I just see grammarian. Wira, unmute yourself. What did you like about the presentation?
I like the way, yeah, thank you. I like the way you present it. I mean, like, it's very simple, concise, and you conclude it at the end. So it will, what is that, make it more powerful. So we remember what actually you share at the beginning because you concluded at the end, and we can recall it back. Oh, those are the things that you mentioned. And that's really
round
good.
of applause. A round of applause for Wira. Thank you very much, Wira. Fantastic. Let's ask someone now. I have an evaluator here. Natalie, what would you have done differently, Natalie? How could that have been improved? Just, you're the expert in evaluations, by the way. She's like a district champion, a division champion, okay? It's like really cool. So Nat, go ahead. How would you have done it differently, or what would have made it even better? Go ahead.
Wow, Hary, that was like an excellent example of a demonstration for technical presentation. I love what Wira have said, and I could add a long list of what I like. If I can suggest you something, maybe incorporate some pictures, because picture speaks 1,000 words. So you can add some visuals in your slides. And one tiny thing, because you're wearing glasses,
yes, the reflection,
the glasses. Yep. So just like tiny things.
Fantastic. Thanks, Natalie. Now let's talk about the strategies that I employed. Okay, the strategies that I employed. So think about what you saw me do in terms of what I presented during this presentation, about how to make your technical presentations pop. So we're talking now about things that I did, that I talked about just now. Let's ask, let's see, who can I pick on now? Who will the lucky be? Dinda. Hi, Dinda. Yes, Dinda Fatika. Hi, I see you waving. Excellent. Go ahead. So what did you see me do that I talked about earlier?
I saw you use the strategy. The first is you use the example, and you use the simple, stupid language, and you ask your audience to write it down, write your words down. Okay. Yeah, I think that's all.
Round of applause for Dinda. You are spot on. I used all of that stuff, and I'm very glad that you actually watched it and listened to it. So good job, Dinda. Let's get one more person to give us some feedback, and what other strategies did we see? How about Bintang from Surabaya? Bintang from Surabaya, are you there? Could you unmute? Hi, Bintang, you are there. Fantastic. I love your name, by the way. Oh, it's a guy.
Thank you.
Oops. Sorry, Bintang. Is your camera on, or is this just my bad internet connection?
Yeah.
Bintang, go ahead. What did you see? What? Just comment about on the demo. Go ahead.
I like on date how simple you can show us that. I think that is very supposed to be boring presentations, but I can get all of the point that you taught us, and it helped me a lot. I mean, you can be a great teacher.
Oh, okay. I hope so. I hope my students think so. Thank you very much. Can you be a bit more specific, Bintang? Can you give me one strategy, what strategy did you like? Or what strategy would you use yourself if you're making a presentation in the future? Go ahead, Bintang.
Yeah, I like on how you highlight in like important points, how you make a statement on every word that it's important, that makes me remember of it.
Okay, that's fantastic. A round of applause, please, for our dear Bintang from Surabaya. Thank you very much, Surabaya. And that now comes to the end of my presentation. I see I'm out of time. It's 9:55 where I am. I will keep your questions. I'm sure you have lots of questions either from the presentation, about the presentation, or about your own presentations that you might do in the future. So here's Toastmaster Hary Elias signing off from Bandung, Indonesia. I hope you've enjoyed my little 45-minute presentation for you. Good luck with your presentations in the future. Remember, there is an ebook and the slides will be available at the end, and I will take questions and answers at the end. So back to you, Toastmaster Ling Ling. Back to you, Ling Ling.
Wow, thank you so much for that insightful presentation. I mean, you honestly exemplify what you're trying to teach. So thank you for imparting a little bit of your knowledge to us today. As Hary has mentioned, we will have a Q&A session later, so please save your burning questions for then. And also, if you can't wait for the email to come to you at the end of the day with his workshop materials, you can also input your details into our survey, and then you will get his ebook and slides immediately at the end of this meeting. Until then, hold on. To give us a little bit of a breather, we'll now proceed into a quick 5-minute break. So feel free to stay and chat, or go ahead and make yourself a cup of coffee, because we have more to come after the break. Okay, see you after 5 minutes.
So we need to take picture, English?
Sorry, yes?
Yes.
We take picture, right? So, okay. Everyone, please turn on your video. I will take picture now. Okay, 1. I will count at 5. I will take picture after that. We have 2 picture. One is the normal one. The second one is the pop style. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, I will take picture now. There's 3 pages, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, for the first page already. So let's wait your pause. I will go to the second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then right. Hold your pause now. I will the third pose, the third page. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now we go to the second pose, which is the pop pose. Okay, I will go to the first page again. 1, 2, 1, 2. Wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I will take picture for the second page. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And then the last page, I will take picture. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now I will show my timer to know that we have 5 minutes break. Okay. Wait.
Excellent. Thank you for your good hard work, Danny. We'll see everyone after
Okay.
5 minutes.
So let's see who is here. Hey, Bintang, I don't know if you're still around. Thank you for coming. And
Hi, thank you.
yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you for inviting me.
Always a pleasure. So let's see who are here. Oh, we have a lot of people from everywhere.
Dial 013 or 019 followed by the telephone numbers. Thank you. Harap maaf. Sila dial.
What is that?
Okay, time is up. Hello.
There we go. Thank you, everyone. I hope everyone's well rested and ready to go for the second part of the session, the demo meeting. So just a quick recap of what the agenda will be looking like. So we've heard 1 hour from Dr. Hary. Now it's time for the demo meeting, which starts with which comes in 3 segments: the prepared speech, where a speaker has already spent some time and effort crafting a 5 to 7 minute speech, followed by table topics, where things get a bit impromptu and random members of the audience will be called upon to give a 1 to 2 impromptu speech. Lastly, followed by the evaluations, where if certain members have already been listening attentively throughout the meeting and will be giving their feedback and opinion later on. So it seems like a bit of a handful, but I'm not alone when I carry out this meeting. There's actually a bevy of role players designed to help facilitate this meeting, from the Toastmaster of the meeting over to the general evaluator later on. So I'm getting ahead of myself. What do these terms mean? I mean, look at that. They're all very fancy and everyone seems to have a very fancy title. Well, I'm happy to explain all of that to you. In fact, we've actually got a whole slew of role players coming from a star-studded cast of Toastmaster leaders from diverse backgrounds and expertise. And it's my honor and privilege to be able to introduce all of them to us today. Let's start with myself. What exactly is a Toastmaster of the evening? Well, I'm considered the host of a meeting. I introduce key players, making sure that they are honored correctly, and I try my best to make audiences feel welcome as they listen along to the meeting. Next is the Table Topics Master. We have Leadership Development Level 3, Purwanto Liam. And what does he do? He is the host of the Table Topics session. And it's a very scary task because he has to make everyone feel welcome when they're called upon to do a 1 to 2 minute impromptu speech. But don't worry, Purwanto is ever smiling and effervescent, so I'm sure he'll make everyone feel appreciated as they come along. Next is his partner, the Table Topics Evaluator. In Toastmasters, nothing goes without feedback, so our Table Topics Evaluator today is Distinguished Toastmaster Lisa Chi, a pillar of the Bintulu community. So what she'll be doing is, as you are speaking in your 1 to 2 minutes, she'll be listening carefully to your speech, and she'll give her feedback of your performance later on during the evaluation session. Next is leadership development level 5. Ayu Wirawati, we call her Wira here, and she is the grammarian. As the grammarian, she gives a report on the excellent and incorrect usages of the English language throughout the meeting. She also encourages the use of the word of the day, and Wira has chosen the words spontaneous, which means to happen or be done in a natural, often sudden way without planning or without being forced. So later on throughout the meeting, I encourage everyone here to use the word spontaneous in the most spontaneous way possible as we go along. Next is our counter. Abel Tan, our distinguished Toastmaster Abel Tan. So he'll be listening to filler words and sounds throughout the meeting. So what are filler words and sounds? So these are words, for example, so, actually, all right. Sometimes these words slip out without us knowing it. And he will be taking note of this as it happens. Later on, he'll give us a report on the crutch words used by the speakers throughout the session. So keep track of your ahs and ums, ladies and gentlemen, because Abel will be listening out for them. Next is our timer. Persuasive influence level 1, Lewis Chu. Now, timing is very important in Toastmasters. We want to make sure that things start and end on time, and speakers stick to the allocated time, because if we respect time, we respect everyone's efforts and time as they present their sessions. So certain speakers will have certain timings. For the table topic session, 1 minute, it will be green. 1 minute and a half, you will have yellow. And at 2 minutes, you will have red. If you go beyond that, at 2 minutes and a half, Lewis will signal that you've gone over time, and the screen will look like that. For prepared speeches, for example, Chang has 5 to 7 minutes. At 5, it will be green, 6, yellow, red at 7 minutes. For every other speaker, the time will be indicated on the screen later on. And if you have 1 minute left to go, it will be green. If you have half a minute left to go, 30 seconds, it will be yellow. And you have no time left, it will be red. Unlike the table topic speakers, there will be no buzzer sound, there will be no times up, and you will return back to your session. You will return back to blankness afterwards. So after that, he will also give a report of how we have used and allocated the time during this session. So that's it from the timer. Last but not least, it is our District 87 director himself, our cute and charismatic Alan Ang, distinguished Toastmaster Alan Ang. He's the general evaluator. What does this mean? Much like how I'm hosting the meeting, he'll be hosting the evaluation session and facilitating evaluators as they come to the stage. He'll also be giving his own personal feedback about how each and every role player is doing in the meeting, as well as how he feels about the overall meeting proceedings, about what we can do better, as well as what have we done well. So that's a bit of a mouthful, but that's all the role players today. I hope that we'll keep this all in mind as we conduct this meeting as productively and as efficiently as we can. Just a recap of the agenda later on. We will now begin with the prepared speech session. So for the prepared speech session, what happens is that in Toastmasters, we follow a structured program called the Pathway Program. When a member joins Toastmasters, they get to choose from 11 different educational programs, depending on what they wish to master. If they want to be more motivational, then motivational strategies would be the way to go. If they wish to be more persuasive and give more pitches in their daily lives, then persuasive influence might be something they want to choose. So different strokes for different folks. And today our speaker, Chang, has taken the page out of the Engaging Humor book. So it'll be a humorous sort of path from him. And his specific speech project that he'll be trying will be called Using Presentation Software. So very much in line with Hary's presentation just now. He'll be using tips and tricks on how to engage the audience using presentation software, and hopefully we will be having a good time with his speech. So a little bit about Chang's speech today. His speech will be about incident investigation and reporting. And then he'll be demonstrating this through the fun presentation tools he has learned from Hary today. So I won't talk too much. He'll be evaluated from Distinguished Toastmaster Natalie Jajadi later. And I have a feeling it'll be a good one because this young lady over here was the district champion a few weeks back. So I'm very much looking forward to what she has to say about Chang's speech later. So without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to introduce to the stage Team Collaboration Level 4, Chang Fu Kun with Tips on Incident Investigation and Reporting. Tips on Incident Investigation and Reporting, Chang Fu Kun, over to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ling Ling. And angle grinder are commonly used at project sites for cutting and grinding of different materials. I know this is not an angle grinder, but imagine this is an angle grinder. So you use it to grind things at site. There's an incident whereby a worker got cut at the trough by an angle grinder. Today's sharing session is about best practices in doing a good incident investigation report using this real-life example happened at my project site. I must say, to produce a good investigation report is not a complex matter. Abiding some fundamental rules and structures will be all that it takes. I will share with you some general guidelines to produce such a report, which I'm confident, which if practiced, will tremendously improve the quality of the report and clarity, and lastly, reach into a conclusions. First and foremost, it's important to understand two important rules. The tools are, number one, 5 why. What is 5 why? 5 why is a tools whereby it follow with one problem and followed by 5 why. This is a spontaneous tools used throughout most of the investigation report. So the problem here is the worker got cut by an angle grinder at the trough. That's the problem statement. Why? This is the first why. Why it got cut? Try to guess. Any guess? Spontaneous. Okay, it bounced back. That's why it cut the worker. So second why. Why is bounce back? Any guess? One, calling two? No, okay. Because it bounced back by a huge counter force when the worker is grinding. So this is the second why. Third why. Why is bounce back? Because there's counter force. Why huge counter force? Because they are using a 9-inch disc. As you can see from the photo here, the first one will be the most left one, which will be the 4-inch grinder. The middle one will be the 5-inch grinder. And then the right one will be the 9-inch grinder. The worker used a 9-inch grinder in that applications. Okay, that is the third why. Fourth why. Why use 9-inch grinder? Because the worker thought that it is faster. Why faster? Because 9-inch grinder is bigger surface area. So he thought that bigger surface area, faster at work applications, he can complete the job faster. So why he thought that it is faster? Without thinking about the application's suitability. Because lack of training, he did not have the knowledge of choosing the best tool for his work. Another method will be the tripod beta rules. Tripod beta rules means you have to identify the underlying cause, preconditions, and immediate cause. The underlying cause is, of course, the worker did not understand the applications and the pros and cons of each grinder. So the precondition will be he didn't apply it correctly also. At that point of time, the wire that he put is actually at the back of his head. So by the time the grinder bounced back, it cut off his ear and then it starts kind of like tangle around himself. And that's what happened. So far, so good. Okay, now we have identified, we have investigated. Now, time to direct reports. So the report will be 5 things that we need to understand, which is the first one, incident. This is the first things that we need to write, the incidents. The problem definition is the most critical aspect of the report. So we need to, time to reporting. So we need to identify the incidents. The incident and problem definitions to include the incident itself, when and where it happened, the impact of the incidents. Next will be the investigation findings. This is where you include the findings that you found during the 5 whys and tripod beta route. You will need to list down this inside this section number 2. The section number 3 is conclusions. Conclusion is you specify the most probable root cause, which is the lack of education or trainings. The worker did not have the knowledge of choosing the right tool. Okay. Next is the recommendations. So the recommendation will be educate the worker and also conduct a mass trainings for all the workers around. Lastly, it will be the way forward. What should be done to prohibit this incident from happening again? And the method is prohibit. In this case, the method is to prohibit the 9-inch grinder throughout the whole site. And also, if really needed, maybe we can have exceptional case, but upon request and approval. And further from that is, last but not least, is the way forward. The way forward is to make sure that active educations, because these labor workers, people come and go, and you need to actively train each batch of worker at site so that no one will miss out from the training. I certainly hope that today's sharing, you'll be able to pick up some points from the guideline described above. Believe me, that the action parties need to be convinced that he or she must do will address the problem. Otherwise, he or she will not committed to deliver the resolutions. So as a project engineers or leaders in an organization, we need to, after we have conducted the incidents report, investigation and report, we need to be able to sell our ideas. So with that, I would like to leave you with one last tips, which is communications works for those who work on it. Communications works for those who work on it. You need to be able to communicate your investigations, reports, ideas to the people that matters, to the people who decides what to be done. With that, I would like to end my speech. Thank you very much. Back to you, Ling Ling.
Thank you very much, Chan, for that truly technical presentation. Yeah, I think we learned a little bit more about incident reporting now. I can't wait to see what Natalie has to say about your speech later. Good luck, Natalie. Now we'll move on to the next part of the agenda, and it's the table topics session. So here to lead us on a merry journey, I am happy to call to the stage Leadership Development Level 3, Purwanto Liam.
Okay, thank you, our MC. So today we will have the table topic session. What is table topic session? I will give a question to you and you need to answer the question within 1 to 2 minutes. So pay attention to the timer. To make it easier to understand for the guests, I think I need to point one of the Toastmaster here. So the Toastmaster can answer the question from 1 to 2 minutes, and it will be easier for us to understand how we do it. Okay, because I have my team here, table topic evaluator, maybe you can help me first to give the example. Yeah, so everyone, please point our table topic evaluator, and I will give this question. Minute. Okay, so here's the question for you. Do anything but let it it produce joy. Do anything but let it produce joy. Okay, time's yours, Toastmaster evaluator. Hello, Lisa. Are you there? Can you answer
Yes, I can see.
my question? 1 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm the one supposed to answer a question. Okay. Whatever we do, we can do it the best we can. Or we can just do it and hope that the result will be okay. I think it all depends on how we look at it. Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you're right. Everything is up to us. If we think we can do it, then surely we will have a chance to get it right. But if in the first place we think we can't, then I think it's very hard to achieve success. Whatever we do, if we put our heart into it and try our best and give it our all, then surely the result will be the best that we can produce. So I really like this saying by Walt Whitman, because if we do our best, then surely those around us will see the best result. We are all busy and we have lots of things to think about. Like this morning, we're all getting ready for this presentation and all trying to get our house in order, all our chores in order. But because we know that we can do it and we have been preparing for it for so many weeks, therefore, when the team get together, then today we can have a really, really good session for everyone. And we hope that all our guests here get some benefit out of it and enjoy today's session with us. Back to you, TTM.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Lisa. And next, guys, if you want to participate to this activity, just raise your hand. So anyone want to participate? Or if no one want to participate, I will point someone here. Okay. How about Toastmaster Fong Kim Sang?
Okay, I will try my best.
Okay. So here's my question for you. So don't forget to use the word of the day. And the question is, what is your memorable moment in life? What is your memorable moment in life? Toastmaster Fong Kim Sang.
What is my memorable moment in life? Okay. My most memorable moment in life, I think should be my wedding day. So on that day, I was so happy, which I can marry with my wonderful wife. So that day should be my most memorable day. Actually, in our whole life, there are a lot of memory moments that we can remember, but especially for the day, the marriage day is my most memorable because how to say in English? Because this is my most happiest day, and now although it's over for so many years, and we have two kids, two children, and still now we have a very happy life, in my whole life. So, and we still very happy together, and I will always remember on the day, 17th of September, years 2000. So that was my most memory day in my life. Back to you.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Fongkin San. And next we go to Rafan. Can the host spotlight Rafan? Okay, Toastmaster Rafan, here's your question. Wait. Okay. So if you won $1 million, what would you do? If you won $1 million, what would you do?
Thank you very much, Mr. Table Topic Master. If I won $1 million, I would take it as US dollars. Obviously, there's so much that one could do with money. You could buy yourself a new house, spend it on your other half with your family, keep some for traveling, and so on and so forth. It's precisely difficult to say exactly what I'd ever do, because in my life, nothing ever came easy. Nothing came easy. So it's hard for me to imagine, as much as I try, that $1 million US will come into my kitty this morning. So I got to fake it to make it. Of course, I can say nice things like I will share part of the loot to the underprivileged, the poor, the innocent, the dogs, stray cats, and so forth. Those are nice statements, pie in the sky type of statements that we always make. But the reality is, when the money comes, trust me, it'll fritter away fast, rich suddenly, also within a split second or a few days or a few years, found themselves back to misery. The wiser ones, of course, will try to invest and make money out of money. But I do not know whether at this point of time I have that kind of wisdom. Let the time comes, then probably with spontaneity, I may react to make use of that money that became a sudden windfall for me. At this point of time, honestly, it's just a figment of imagination. I will be telling lies if I said I will do this and do that. Thank you, and back to you, the topic master.
Yeah, don't worry to mention about your spontaneous imagination. So we are doing the table topic here to answer the question spontaneously, and it could happen, who knows? And then we will go to Zulfa.
Okay, thank you. But
Yep.
sorry, I can't switch on my video.
Ah, I see. Okay. So don't worry, I will give you this question, and wait a minute. Yeah. What was the best party you have had so far? What was the best party you have had so far?
The best party. I think the best party I have had so far is my farewell party when I decided to move to Kalimantan from Java. And it was so touching. I mean that at that time, I felt that I will lose a lot of friends and I will leave them and I don't know when to meet again. And I will leave my home village at that time. And also say goodbye to my parents, to my relatives, to all my family. And yeah, it's hard to forget. And at the time I feel that all moment is precious. Even though the moment maybe I can get angry to my friends or my relatives, but I think in the future I will miss it. And maybe that's the last time I will have that moment. And of course, from the farewell party, I knew that I've been part of them for so long time. And maybe in the future, I will be no longer part of them again. And I will start my new me in my new place. And that's quite scary for me at that time. But I believe that all my friends that I left will not forget me in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Zulfa. Yeah, I believe your friend wouldn't forget you because you have the farewell party, and the farewell party is like one of the best memory in our life.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then let's move to Bintang. Do you want to try?
I think I give Adam to get a chance.
Okay. Let's go to Adam. Dan?
Hello.
Okay. Here's the question for you. Can you see my question?
It is quite blocked. I can't see through. Oh, all right.
Okay. Yeah. So what was the most spontaneous action you have done? I will also type it on the chat box.
Okay.
What was
So,
the most spontaneous action you have done so far? Adam.
So thank you very much to Palu Masters. So what was the most spontaneous action that I have done? So since this is a spontaneous speech that I will be delivering spontaneously, and it's about something that I should be recalling on things that I have done in a spontaneous way. So I will be sharing one, which is something that I call an action of showing kindness. So what have I done spontaneously in the past? There was once when I went to the mall, trying to get some drinks from the store in the shopping mall. Then suddenly came a little boy trying to buy an ice cream. So this little boy was holding the cash in his hands. He was asking for the flavors that he would like to. But the lady behind the counter says that, I'm sorry, but you don't have enough money, so go and get some more from your parents. And then the little boy just stood still, thinking like, but I want the ice cream. And then I asked, how much was the ice cream? How much is it? And then she told me it's 1 ringgit and 20 cents, where the cash in the boy's hand is only 1 ringgit. So he need another 20 cents. So I told the girl behind the counter, it's okay, just give it to him. I'll pay it for him. And then only the girl behind the counter scooped the ice cream and give it to the boy. So when I wanted to pay for the boy, the 120 cents, the girl just took my 20 cents because she told me that we are not going to give it for free. It's just a lesson to teach the boy that everything that you need, you have to work for it. So I think in a way that the girl is doing to the boy is to teach that you should not take things for granted, and there are kind people out there. And I felt so good. I did it spontaneously, and for me, it's a spontaneous kind action that I believe we all should do. So I think that is all for me. Thank you. I hand it back to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ada. And here we have one last question. Okay, one last question. Maybe Ine Frihayanti. Do you want to try, Ine? Hello, Ine, are you there? Or maybe the others? We still have one more question. Maybe Eric Chayanta or Bintang. Or if no one want to try, maybe I can give this chance to the Toastmaster member. Any Toastmaster member want to try? Okay, maybe Julian Lim. Or maybe I will point someone, like maybe Toastmaster Najib. Do you want to try?
Thank you, Table Topics Master, for choosing me
Yeah.
as the last speaker for the day. Very spontaneous action on your behalf. What is your question, sir?
So the question is this one: laughter is the best medicine. Laughter is the best medicine. Toastmaster Nizam. Time's yours.
Najib.
Thank
you, Table Topics Master Purwanto. That was a great title that you gave me. Laughter is the best medicine. And I agree absolutely that laughter is the best medicine. You see, nowadays people go to so many doctors, so many traditional medicine practitioners, and yet they are not cured of their difficulties. But laughter is the only option for such people. Because when you laugh, you are happy. When you are happy, what happens is the part of your brain called the amygdala releases the feel-good neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin. That keeps you happy. That is the only medicine that we all need today. In view of the COVID situation, we are restricted severely from all our normal practices. So what do? We laugh it out. Now we are with the vaccination phenomena all over the country, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Southeast Asia. Some people are so worried about the vaccinations, about the adverse effects. But laughter is the best medicine, because when you laugh, you can overcome everything in your life. Mostly, you will feel happy, contented with what you already have. And when you practice laughter, it serves as a medicine that will help cure all your unfounded difficulties in this whole wide world. Back to you, Topics Master.
Okay, thank you, Toastmaster Najib. You also remind us to get vaccinated. So if you are afraid of to get vaccinated, you can try to laugh before to get the vaccinated. Just a bit of joke. Okay, so I will give control back to our MC. Our MC, time's yours.
Thank you very much, Purwanto. What an engaging table topics session. Thank you very much for everyone who participated. And now we'll move on to the evaluation session. In Toastmasters, everything that we do is another step to becoming better and better. There's always something to improve. To help us do that, I would now like to invite our general evaluator to lead the evaluation session. Can I please call upon our cute and charismatic distinguished Toastmaster, Alan Ang.
Hi, Ling Ling. Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. So I would be leading the general evaluation sessions. I think we have a great sessions up to so far, but we wanted to know a little bit more on what we have done well and what we could have done better as an area of improvement. After all, Toastmasters is about learning, and I think there is always room for improvement as well. So to kickstart our general evaluation sessions, I would like to first invite our prepared speech evaluator for our speaker this morning, Chang. So everyone, let's give a hand for our evaluator, distinguished Toastmaster, Natalie Jayadi.
Benjamin Franklin once said, "Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn." And Toastmaster Chang, thank you for sharing your insights and your experience in this informational presentation about incident investigation and reporting. In your presentation, there are many good points, but let me share with you 3 things that I love. First is your slides design. I love how your slides was simple, clear, the colors was also pleasant to the eyes. And what I absolutely love is how you use minimum words to convey your presentation. And I think that's a highlight of this slide. The second thing is I love how you choose a very specific topic. I notice in technical presentation, the more specific you go, the bigger value that you can offer your audience. So I really like how you really pinpoint a certain things that you can share with your audience in just 5 to 7 minutes. Well done. The third thing that I also love is your eye contact. Eye contact is a great part in building engagement with your audience. In this online environment, it's really hard to establish eye contact because you need to look at the camera. And the biggest temptation in presentation is you are looking to the slides and not at the camera. I really appreciate your effort in building that eye contact consistently. To offer you some recommendation for improvement, here is the 3 things that I observe. First is to master your screen. I noticed that some part of your slides actually covered part of your face and also covered your props. My suggestion for you is to consider use not half of the screen for your slide, but only a third of your screen for your slides. And another thing that I suggest is use the props in the opposite hand where your presentation or when your slides is located. By doing that, you will fully utilize your screen. And as your audience, I will be able to fully enjoy the visual experience of this presentation. Second thing that I would like to recommend is to incorporate stories. I believe when you incorporate stories in the beginning of your presentation, it will make your introduction more engaging. For example, you can ask your audience, just like Hary said, ask them to imagine this is a bridle and imagine it cuts your neck. What's going to happen? Things like that. It will really build an instant rapport with your audience. The third thing that I would like to recommend to you is to give context to your audience. I notice you already have it in your slide, but you didn't say it. Say it so your audience remember and remember it clearly. So you can say, I will share with you today the best practices that I learned, and I will give you the tips that I personally use. Here is how it goes. So when you say it, people know what to expect. Overall, this is an informational presentation. 3 things that I love is the slide design,
the specific topic and the eye contact. And 3 things that I would recommend is to incorporate stories, to master your screen, and to say your context. And I believe you will be able to involve your audience to learn even more. General Evaluator.
Thank you so much, Natalie. I think that is a demonstration on how we should evaluate a speech. I'll give more feedback on Natalie's evaluations later on, because I would like to move on to the next evaluator, who is our table topics evaluator. Can we please invite distinguished Toastmaster Lisa Chi for the table topics evaluation? Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Alan. Okay, we had 5 speakers for the table topic session today. Our first speaker was Fong Kim San. Question was, most memorable moment in your life. Now, I think Fong was caught by surprise when the Toastmaster called him to be the speaker, but he reacted spontaneously and rose to the challenge. He jumped right in and answered the question. And he told us that his wedding was his most memorable moment in his life. So well done on that, Fong. Now, perhaps you were a bit stuck because maybe English is not your first language. However, you really just push on and go for it despite that. Yeah, so that is really the spirit of table topic session. What I would suggest for improvement is perhaps you can describe your special moment in your life. How beautiful your bride looked, how the guests were so happy to share that moment with you. That would have brought it alive so that all of us can also enjoy it and understand that special moment in your life. So well done, Fong. Now, the second speaker was Ravin, and his question was, if you won $1 million, what will you do? Now, I believe this is a question that many of us have dreamed about, right? And we imagine that if this happened to us, what would we do? Now, Ravin went on and said, very, very calmly, he presented his answer very, very calmly. What can be done if he won $1 million? And charity and all kinds of good things that he could put that money to use. Now, I think, Ravin, this is a question you can let your imagination run wild, yeah? So that, you know, let us know, maybe you want to buy something that you have never ever bought before and do something or give it away to us. All right, number 3, the next speaker was Zulfa, and his question was, the best party you have had so far. Now, Zulfa is a she, I think. Okay, and she told us that that best party was her farewell party when she relocated, and how her friends threw that party for her. And she reflected on the moment of how much she will miss everyone, and also her determination that when she moved to the new place, she will make her new me. Now, I thought that was such a wonderful sharing, because a new beginning, right, in your new place. Now, what could you have done to improve? Perhaps describe who came to your party, where was it held, and what did you all do in the party to let us know how special and how great this party was. Now, our fourth speaker was Adam. Adam is not a Toastmaster. So well done, Adam, for taking up the challenge. Your question was, what was the most spontaneous action? And I really love how Adam shared a story which he encountered when he went to buy ice cream, right? And he met this boy. Now, that was a wonderful story. I thought you could have made it even better by letting the story come alive. Use dialogue, yeah? Instead of narrating the story and telling us what happened, you can use dialogue. You can say something like, so many ice cream, which flavor to choose? I want this one. No, I want that one, that one. Now, this is active voice, using dialogue to tell us the story so that all of us can be in that story together with you. The fifth speaker was Toastmaster Najib, and his question was, laughter is the best medicine. I really like this topic. He started off very well by telling us the topic, stating the topic right at the start so all of us can follow. And he spoke about why people go to see the doctor to get medicine. Now, I wonder, TM Najib, are you a doctor yourself? Because you could actually explain to us how laughter affects us. You talk about technical things on the spur of the moment. It was so spontaneous about how the amygdala, works, and then all these scientific words like serotonin and all that was like totally in awe. Wow, totally well done. Bravo. And on top of that, you actually even shared your personal story. Yeah, I think you can actually make it better if you shared your personal story. Were there moments in your life when you couldn't stop laughing? Or were there sad moments in your life when you felt really down, but someone said something to you and made you laugh, and the things became so much better for you after that? This would have been made your story really come alive for us. So all in all, really well done, and congratulations to our Table Topics Master Purwanto for the excellent table topics session. Back to you, Ellen.
Thank you very much, Lisa. I think everyone, I would like you to take a moment to give a virtual clap thumbs up to both our evaluator, Natalie and Lisa. I think they really demonstrate not just only how you can evaluate, but how can you evaluate within the time limit, which is a very important thing, especially as a Toastmasters. Before you join Toastmasters, you don't know what to talk about. After you join Toastmasters, usually we fall into the trap of we don't know when to stop talking. So I think it is a very important lesson as a Toastmasters to know how much to speak. Now let's go into detail what makes Natalie and Lisa a great evaluator. Let's start off with Natalie. I think as an evaluator, very common mistakes that an evaluator does is always just go straight into sharing what's their thought and all this, which is something not Natalie has shown us. What she have demonstrated to us was that she has a structure in her own evaluation as well. She started off by giving us a quote, and it's not just any other quote. I'm not a person who really enjoys quotes, especially when it comes to evaluations, because sometimes it's not relatable. But a quote from Natalie was very relatable to her evaluations and to the speaker. She structures her evaluations on focusing 3 things that she liked and 3 things that she thought would help our speakers to become better. The words that she used was, I would like to offer you a recommendation, which is not a threat, but a friendly invitation. I think this was very well used of words. And the most important of all, she kept it off by telling us what she has talked about in terms of 3 good things and 3 areas of improvement. So I think the structure itself is something that we should all learn from Natalie when it comes to evaluation. Right on the dot, red lights comes on, recap, finish it. I think it was before 3 minutes and 30 seconds. What I hope would see as an improvement from Natalie was a little bit more about the structure and in forms of an evaluation, especially towards the end when you mentioned to us that, oh, that was a very informational speech, or it was very informative. In order to improve for our speakers, what can we do to encourage them in terms of the structure of the speech so that it becomes a very easily understandable, informative speech? Because a lot of times our recommendations evolves around delivery, evolves around technical aspects. How do we capture attention? But we might miss a little bit on how can we strengthen the foundation, which is the structure of an informative speech. Could it be a problem solution structure? Could it be a comparative advantage? What kind of structure should we use to enhance the impact? So that is my recommendations for Natalie, to even make the evaluations more educational for our speaker. Next, we have Lisa. Lisa, who have to evaluate not 1, not 2, not 3, I think 5 to 6 different speakers in a span of 6 minutes. It is not easy because you need to be very sharp and attentive. What I really like about you, Lisa, was 3 things. Number 1, your evaluations is very personalized to each speaker. For example, you understand background of most speaker. Let's say it's Kim San. You know that he comes from a Mandarin club, so you were very encouraging in your evaluations to tell him, hey, how can you create or find more content to speak about which is common struggle with people like myself as well as a Mandarin speaker. Second, you gave example. For example, on the dialogue, this is how you should do a dialogue. This is your active voice, and then you act it out. I was thinking, wow, if you had not demonstrated it, I might not be able to imagine how the dialogue would go by. And number three, most important of all, which is your strength as an evaluator, is your tone. You were very excited and yet very encouraging. It is hard to find the right balance between being excited and encouraging at the same time. Because if you get overexcited, the speaker will be thinking, is this a Lisa talk show? But if you get too encouraging, people will be thinking, everything seems like it's going to be so motivational. You might not grab the attention as well. So I think finding the right balance was the secret ingredient to your success as an evaluator this morning. What could you have done better would be a page that we can all learn from Natalie as well, which was the structure. Before you go right in, you can tell us that, you know what, we have a lot of evaluators today. So I will specifically be talking about the content of the table topics, what they have done well in the content and what they could improve on the content. So at least they know what to expect. Otherwise, when you were giving feedback or when you're highlighting the strength, they can't figure out which part of the speech that you are talking about. All in all, I think as an evaluator, both Natalie and Lisa have shown us the foundations that you should have in giving feedback. We don't want just to give a motivating or encouraging feedback. We want to be critical as well. For that to happen, we must be very sharp. We must be very structured in our evaluations. And then we know the intention is to help every speaker to get better. Today, if Chang, Kim San, Ravin, Zulfa, Adam, all the speakers felt that they have been enlightened and motivated to get better, then it is the best testimonial of the kind of good job that Natalie and Lisa have delivered early on. So with that, I would like to invite everyone to unmute yourself and say thank you to Lisa and Natalie for a great evaluation.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
All right, moving on. We have done with the evaluations for the table topics and the prepared speaker. We would like to move on to the grammar report. With that, I would like to invite leadership development level 5, so which is a competent level for Ayu Wirawati. Everyone, Ayu.
Thank you. So, okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Yes. All right. So, wait a moment. I should start from the beginning. Okay. To be honest, it is really challenging to observe every single, professional speakers here. I hardly find any improper use of grammar. So these are the things that I found out so far. Okay, the first one, I can meet with my wife. So this one, the use of can, it actually already, an event already happened in the past. So we're supposed to say, I could meet my wife. And then the second one, my most happiest day. This is a superlative adjective. You can say the happiest day of my life. I felt that I will lose a lot of my friends. So this one also an event that happened in the past. You can say, I felt that I would lose a lot of my friends. And same things with the other two sentences. It's also about the use of past tense. The lady behind the counter says, you're supposed to say, the lady behind the counter said. 3 things that I like. So it's supposed to be are, because there are 3 things that you like. And only those things that I found out because it was really incredible. Every speaker says really, really great English. Okay. And these are lists of quotes, thoughts, and word saying that I found out. There are a lot actually. These are just some of them. Keep it simple. So far, so good. Pick up some points. Communication works for those who work on it. Truly technical presentation. Do anything but let it produce joy. Whatever do it the best we can. If we think we can do it, then those around us will see the best of us. Nothing ever came easy. Make money out of money. My new me in my new place. All my friends will not may all my friends will not forgive me in the future. Everything that you need, you have to work for it. Laughter is the best medicine. When you laugh, you can overcome everything in your life. Tell me and I forget, teach me and I remember, involve me and I learn. Caught by surprise, let your imagination run around. Let the story come alive. Very encouraging in your evaluation. So those are the list of word or saying that I found out. And right now I would like to say congratulations to all of the speakers today who's using the word of the day, spontaneous. Chang Pokung, you use it for 2 times. Raf, sorry if I mispronounce the word. You say it 1 time. Purwanto 3 times. Adam 5 times. Najib 1 time. And Lisa Chi 2 times. Congratulations for all of you. I will leave it back to the GE. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ayu. Moving on, I would like to invite our art counter, and that would be our Toastmasters Abel, distinguished Toastmasters Abel. Over to you.
Thank you, Alan, and well done to all our speakers and table topic speakers. Even though it was quite a spontaneous attempt at a table topic, but many of you did very well. So far, I spotted 3 Toastmasters members, Chang, Lisa, and Najib. Now, all 3 of you are flawless, and I did not detect any R or filler words. For Toastmaster Fong Kim Sang, I detected about 2 R's. Reverend 1 only. Well, congratulations. Zulfa 1. Adam 5. And all of you did very well, and I'm so proud of you all. Okay, back to you, Toastmaster Alan.
Thank you, Abel. And moving on, we have our timer report, which our timer has already posted it in the group chat. But even so, I would still like to invite Louis to present his report. Over to you, Louis.
All right, thank you very much, our GE, Didi Alan. So for my timer report, speaker number 1, Chan, he did it in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Table topic 1, Lisa, did it in 1 minute and 53. Table topic 2, Fong Kim San, 1 minute 32. Table topic 3, Reverend, 2 minutes and 10. Table topic number 4, Zulfa, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. Table topic number 5, Adam, 1 minute and 55 seconds. And last but not least, table topic number 6, Najib. He did it in 1 minute and 45 seconds. Everyone is within time. For the evaluator number 1, Natalie, she did it in 3 minutes and 22. Table topic evaluator Lisa, she did it in 5 minutes and 80 seconds. So everyone is within qualifying time. Thank you. Back to you, G.
Thank you very much, Louis. So let me move on to my general evaluator report, which I believe I have 5 minutes to evaluate all the role players from our grammar to art counter to timer, and also the MC, Tom, or what we call the Toastmaster of the evening. So let me start my report. First, I would like to evaluate on our grammarian, which is our leadership development proposition, Ayu. I think your grammar report was very spot on. The first impression that I had about your report was, you are definitely going to be best friend to my wife, but you will be a nightmare to me. Why? If my wife to be a good friend with you, she will learn that it is important to be very attentive, to write down every single thing that your husband would have mentioned. Husbands or gentlemen in this room, how scary can your wife be if she record every single sentence that you said? She remember exactly the word that you said, when you said it, how you said it. And that's the exact impression that I have from our grammarian this morning. You were super attentive that I don't know how you captured all the quotes, all the list of words that were mentioned. It's quite scary, but at the same time, very impressive. I like how you are able to pick up things that we've done well, and especially with the usage of the word of the day. Now, with all that being said, of course, there are ways that I felt you could have been done way better in terms of a grammar report. So number one, it's not just only for Ayu, I also for Viram. I also believe that it applies to a lot of us as an evaluator. The trap of falling into using superlative, for example, Everyone is a very professional speaker. It was a very great usage. It was a very great. So I think a lot of times if we keep saying that everything is super good, excellent, amazing, then it would leave an impression to our guests or even to our fellow Toastmasters. If this were to be great, what's beyond that? So I think we need to be very careful with using superlative like this. And second thing would be to understand that as a grammarian, you also can help us to understand a little bit better on how can we improve with our language. For example, sometimes when we might have misused certain languages in terms of like the words, what kind of replacement word that we should have. So the recommendation part would be a challenge and a learning area for you as well, which is something that I am hopeful to see in your future evaluation. Moving on to our R counter, Abel. Again, I think this is something, it must be the water that our Sarawakian has been drinking. Similar to Lisa as well, Abel is very energetic in his report. He goes around with, wow, this is what you have done. Wow, that's what you have done. I was thinking, yeah, I wish I could have used a little bit more crutch word, then my name would be mentioned by Abel. You know, suddenly I feel like I'm winning because my name has been mentioned by Abel as well. Abel, I like how you keep note of the usage of crutch words. What I hope to see a little bit more would be, why are those crutch words or why are those impediment to our speech? And even more important than that, how can we improve on it? Maybe should we pause as we are thinking, or what are the tips and tricks that we could use? So the education side of things, I think you understand what I'm saying, and I look forward to you demonstrating that in the future roles for R counter. Moving on to Louis with our time report as well. Very precise, you've typed out all the report as well. Again, a very detailed report on how we perform as a group. What I hope to see would be a little bit more insight into how we use timing. For example, for Natalie and Lisa, they are really good with timing. This is something that is not very commonly seen. Maybe you can tell us, for Natalie, her opening, the code word was for 10 seconds. She spent almost 2 minutes on the good points for the speakers, and she spent the next 1 minute to give us some recommendations. I was mentioning this was because I noticed the light has not even turned yellow when she started, just turned yellow when she started on the recommendation. And I think this would also help Natalie, who is a very, is a member who is very keen on competing, that she will be able to know, how is my timing as I were to deliver my evaluation. So these are more insightful comments from a timer. Next, we have a very important role for this morning. She is our MC, our Toastmaster of the meeting, and also Toastmaster of the evening in some places, is what they call, which is Lai Ling Ling, our incoming division director, our currently area director, my fellow members from the same club as well. So Ling Ling is someone who is known to be very bubbly. She prepared very well, and it's not easy to carry a whole morning sessions, getting energy high up right off the bat, because some of us might not have our coffee fix yet in the morning, and we might start off feeling that, here it goes again, another meeting. But she started off with a right energy, and I think it contributes to the success of this session. Why up till this moment right now, we still have over 70+ people in the room, which is not easy to achieve. So well done on that. One thing that we all can learn from Ling Ling, immediately learn from her, is the short, sweet, and simple introduction of all role players. As a MC or as a host of meetings, we tend to go into too much detail, about this, about that, and too much information sometimes is not good, especially in the beginning of the meeting, where guests are so eager to learn already, or fellow Toastmasters are so eager to learn. Cut those, get straight to the main dishes, right? Use your energy to lift everyone up. In general, I felt this event is a successful event. We have a good mix of Toastmasters members. We have a good mix of guests. So for all the guests who are in this Zoom right now or watching over Facebook, I hope you find this very useful and educational, because this might give you an insight into what Toastmasters meeting can do for you. For all the role players, well done. And for the organizing team, thank you for putting this up and sharing all those informations on the WhatsApp, on the social medias as well. Everywhere that I go right now, especially the last few days, any WhatsApp group that I'm actively involved in, I've seen Hary's face pop up. So Hary, you're made famous throughout District 87 right now. And we even got a guest from Japan. So this is an amazing effort. Maybe the next time, we have some guests coming, joining us from across the half globes, from the States. You never know, because social media, or what I call Zoom meeting right now, take away all the challenges that we used to have when it comes to boundaries. Now it's borderless. The opportunity is so huge for every one of us right now. So all in all, I think this Saturday morning is a well-spent morning. Everyone learned something. We learned in the midst of having fun as well. And thank you to Hary for sharing with us all the very colorful and very insightful and very educational sessions on how to present a technical presentation. And not just only telling us, but demonstrating to us through your presentations on how to use grammar. For one, myself, I'm very horrible with grammar, something that I'm trying to learn. And when you tell me that there are 5 different grammars, I went, all right, now I need to go back to the basics. And I have a lot more things to learn. But it is a good intention, because now I'm hungrier and I'm more eager to fill myself up with knowledge as well. So thank you very much. And to all of you who took your time out, aside from thanking all the other role players and all the people who have spent time in this meeting, one most important person that you should thank is yourself. So give a pat on your shoulder and say, well done for staying up and staying in on a Saturday morning. And with that, I would like to hand it over back to our very energetic MC. Over to you, Ling Ling.
Thanks, Alan. Those are some really nice things you said about all of us. I'm still blushing over the things you said to me. But yeah, in Toastmasters, we like to learn from not just constructive feedback, but also positive, uplifting comments that make you want to strive to do better the next time. And I think Alan has just done that for all of us here. So thank you very much for your evaluations. Now, we've more or less come to the end of the demo meeting, but do stay on because we do have the Q&A session coming up next. But before we do that, I would like to appreciate and acknowledge the people who made this meeting possible today. It's only 2 hours, but a lot of work went into that. In fact, other than the role players you see present today, we also have a team behind the scenes. Distinguished Ableton, organizing chair for pulling all of the members together and having us coordinate with each other to make today possible. Next is also our marketing and publicity team, distinguished Toastmaster Miranda Rumi and Toastmaster Jeffrey Laksana. These are the people who made all of the WhatsApp groups booming with people and knowing Hary's faces and making sure that we've got the attendees, the number of attendees that possible today. So thank you so much for your effort. Next, she's not here, but she is on Facebook right now. We have our Facebook coordinator, distinguished Toastmaster Harlina Indra. Harlina, I hope you are listening to me right here, right now. She is the one who is messaging us about what's happening in Facebook, what kind of information are we getting, what kind of response. So yeah, because of Harlina, we have everything sorted in Facebook. And let's not forget our Zoom host, Dynamic Leadership Level 2, Denny Surya, and Persuasive Influence Proficient Visionary Communications Level 3, Amelia Fibriani. These two wonderful tag team were the ones who made sure that the Zoom meeting's working just fine. Everything's been highlighted well. And also, all the guests are feeling welcome and appreciated through the comments. So thank you for sorting out all the technical issues so we don't have to. Thank you. So these are the people who made it possible. And thank you so much for encouraging. And also, let's not forget the audience members. Thank you for spending your 2 hours of a Saturday morning with us here today. So that's all from me, your host. I'm Lai Ling Ling. And let's now move on to the Q&A session. I hope you have compiled all the questions you want answered. It's a couple of house rules. If you have any questions, just drop it in the group chat. If you want to ask it personally, drop your name in the group chat, and then we will unmute you and allow you to ask your questions verbally to all of us here. So without further ado, have it away, take it away, and then we'll see what kind of questions you have for all of us here. Mm. For some of you, you might have come in halfway throughout during the session. I just like to remind everyone that we do have a review form, and later on we'll share that at the end of the session so you can get Dr. Hary's slides and info pack. Dr. Hary, sorry, I interrupted you for a bit. You wanted to say something?
No, not at all. I'm just wondering if there are any questions, and I see this question from Abel.
Yes.
Abel has a question.
Yes, I have a question because in a week time, I will be presenting to our Malaysian petroleum regulator to approve our project. So presenting to a group of people who seem to be like an authority, is it appropriate to ask them to take down notes, write it down, or is it appropriate to ask them questions as well? Because I tried a few times in a previous pre-engagement meeting, and it was a bit awkward silence. Now you ask them question and it was like silence across the room. It felt a bit awkward. And what's about?
Thank you very much, Abel, for the question. And I would say you continue to ask the questions. Why? It could be a rhetorical question. You may not need to have an answer, but the pause after you've asked the question helps the audience to think about the answer. Even if they don't verbalize it, they're thinking about the answer. And it would be appropriate. I will tell you that I am quite disrespectful of, I don't really care who my audience is. I will give you an example, a real life example. I was once making a very technical presentation on pedagogy on a group of deans of faculties in 3 universities. And I didn't care. I made them stand up, do a board race. They had to run to the board. I mean, can you imagine these old professors? These are old men running up to the board. And let me tell you that once you develop that confidence to say, this is the way I make technical presentations, and you have enough of, what's the word, gumption, enough of mojo to stand in front of your audience and say, well, what do you think, Professor this? And they respond, then very quickly you find that they're going to be more responsive. I take your point that some things that I might have suggested may not work because of who your audience is. But that doesn't mean that we should ignore the idea or the general theme that your audience should participate in the discovery, participate in the learning, because it's only when they participate and they are thinking and they are responding to your prompts where they will have a higher retention and you'll have much more chance of getting that approval. So good luck with your presentation next week. I'm sure it will come out fantastically, Abel. Back to you, Linging.
Yes, thank you very much for your comments, Dr. Hary. I'm sure that Abel, really good luck with your presentation that's upcoming later. Again, the floor is open to the audience. You can ask anything you'd like about presentations. If you have a big one coming up like Abel, maybe you'd like to ask some tips and tactics to cover that. Otherwise, we're happy to answer anything about Toastmasters as well as an organization.
May I?
Yes, by all means, go ahead. Zidane, was it? Yes.
Yeah, answer before because I joined this Toastmaster today while I'm working. But the one point that I would like to ask is sometimes because of English is not my mother tongue, we sometimes stuck with a difficult one vocabulary. So how to fix them if we present something? Thank you.
Sorry, could you rephrase that last sentence for a bit? What was your question specifically?
No, Zidane, maybe you can clarify. Are you asking how to improve your English when you're making a presentation? Is that what you want to know?
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So should I just take it, Ling Ling, or should I just put it out?
Yes,
to
by all
sort of-
means. You did a whole
Right.
part about grammar and things, so I think you're very
Zidane.
qualified.
Thank you.
Zidane. Okay, Zidane. I have 3 ways to do it. It's called practice, practice, and practice. Okay? And yeah, it's just practice. The more you expose yourself to English, the better your English is going to get. Now, let me give you the reverse. Okay. I lived in England, I lived in America for 40 years. I don't speak English. I don't think about the English. It's my native tongue. I also lived in China as a very young child. So I speak Mandarin fluently. I don't have to think about my Mandarin. But because I never learned Bahasa Indonesian, I only learned it when I was about 30 years old. Bahasa Indonesia saya kaku sekali. And when I first came in, when I spoke Bahasa Indonesian, everybody would laugh at me like, oh my God, please speak English, Hary. Don't even try. But I didn't care. And I practiced and practiced and practiced. And in fact, the challenge for me now, Zidane, the reverse challenge for me is that I actually want to join a Bahasa club. And Halina's been telling me and Miranda's been telling me, come on, Hary, you can do it. And I don't want to. I'm scared. But I'm going to overcome that fear, Zidane. And I'm going to join a Bahasa club so that my Bahasa Indonesian actually gets more fluent. So Zidane, join the Toastmasters. It's going to be hard. I feel your pain because I can't imagine doing a table topics in Bahasa Indonesia. I couldn't speak Bahasa Indonesia for 15 minutes fluently, but I'm going to do it. So go and join a club and force yourself to do it because very, very quickly, your English will improve. You don't need to improve everything. You just need to improve that part or that target vocabulary that you need for your work, for example, Zidane. So that's my advice to you. So good luck with that. I'm going to join a Bahasa club. I don't care. Let them laugh at me. Who cares? Back to you, Ling Ling.
Yeah,
Miss,
thank you
can I
very
have-
much, Hary. And sorry?
Miss, can I have the next question,
Hello.
please? This is Placido. Can I have the
Yes,
next
yes.
question? Okay. Sir,
Yes, by
Sir
all means, by all means.
Elias, in doing impromptu speech, are there structures or basic structures that we have to follow in delivering the impromptu speech?
Absolutely right. There are structures in impromptu speech. I do impromptu speech, obviously, because I am a Toastmaster, but I think the best person to answer would be someone else, Ling Ling, who was our, perhaps another more senior Toastmaster would like to think about impromptu
About
speech
structuring your
approaches.
speech.
Yes, go ahead.
Approaches. Let's see. I think Alan would be an interesting person to take this one. I mean, he was the general evaluator. I think he would have a couple of tips about how do you improve things like structuring an impromptu speech.
You have a district champion in evaluations, and you have table topic speakers in Natalie, and then you drop the bomb on me. Okay.
Okay, sir. What I did is, what will be the first part that you are going to say, the second part, and how do we end now the impromptu speech? That's what I mean when I said the basic structures.
Yeah, thank you. I'll share with you something that works for myself. I'm not sure whether it works for you, but I can share with what works for me. Table topic is challenging for me because I think in the beginning we try to answer the question too fast. We are under the impressions that whatever question that comes to you, you need to answer it immediately. And taking time to think might project an image of you're unsure, which I believe is not true. So the first thing that I believe when any question that has been prompted to you, whether it's on table topics, whether it's in real life, whether it's from your managers, from your clients, or even from your spouse, it's always to listen to the questions and find out the intention. Finding out the intention is very important. Today, if I were to ask you, what's your point of view on the pandemic? What's my intention? Is it really trying to get a solution or just asking for your opinion? If we don't understand the intention behind that questions, we might give out an answer that does not interest anyone and does not relate to them because they felt like I'm asking you A and you're answering me B. So number one is always listen for the intention. Number two, how are you going to structure your answer is that it must be logical. To me, I cherish a lot on deliveries and all this, but I think if you don't have logic, things doesn't make sense. Because if you try to hoo-ha and say, wow, I have great body language, I have great vocal varieties, I'm trying to impress you, I want to make you cry, people can feel like they're inspired, but 2-3 minutes later or an hour later, they might be asking the question, actually, what did Alan say? What was he referring to? Then I don't think you leave the right impression. So the second thing is it must be logical, the things that you're answering. So answer, not just only answering the questions, but answer with logic. It must make sense. So if your questions were, Alan, how do you keep fit? And I were to tell you that, oh, fitness is not really that important thing. You just need to have enough sleep, enough rest and all this. It doesn't make sense. Now I have to make it logical and it must click to you. And last but not least is always to remind or recap what you've told people. This is something that Natalie has done extremely well earlier on, because after 3 minutes of evaluations, after 3 minutes of answering anything, people might not remember what you're trying to say. So if you look at answering any table topics or any questions, you can look at it as you're going to a fine dining restaurant. You know, the introduction is like an appetizer, just to get attention. And then when you're answering the question, which is the most logical part, is like the main dish. You're like, wow, this is great food. But what differentiates between a good restaurant and a great restaurant would be the dessert, you know, because that's the last dish they're gonna take and you feel like, wow, I remember that. So after you gave your answer, towards the end, they will remember the last few sentences that you've mentioned. So the 3 things that you've asked early on, number 1, I felt it's important to listen to the intention of the question. Number 2, answer the questions, but in a very logical way. It must make sense. And third, which is most important of all, leave them with something that they can remember, because they might forget all the things that they've said. Unless you pick up the tips from Dr. Hary, which is ask them to write it down. This is very important. 3 things that I'm going to tell you about it. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ling Ling, could I just add to that? So,
Yeah, sure,
Placido,
by all means.
I'll share my framework with you. All right, I'll share my framework whenever I get a table topics question. And this is what I usually do. There's obviously an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. We know that. But for the introduction, what I usually do is I make 4 statements very quickly. A general statement. The first thing that comes out of my mouth is a general statement. Well, the pandemic is something that blah, 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 blah. Then the second sentence that comes out of my mouth is what I call the funneling statement. A funnel, where you take the general idea of a pandemic and then you funnel it down to something more specific. That shows a certain style, a certain sophistication in your, when you're doing your speech. The third statement that comes out of my mouth is usually this, it's the issue statement. That's when you say, well, the issue is whether apples are better than oranges. And then the fourth statement that comes out of my mouth is the answer. You need to answer the question. So that's the introduction, and that should take no more than 30 seconds. So for example, Indonesia has many problems in nutrition, and the government is trying to decide what kind of fruit should be served in our primary school. The issue is whether it should be apples or oranges. And in my view, apples are so much better than oranges. Introduction. Then the structure then goes either 2 or 3 bullet points. So you always start with, first, I think apples are better because, and then you give a quick example of why you say apples are better. Second, apples are also good because you give your second and some kind of supporting evidence for that. Then, now that you've done your body, you then go the structure of my table topics is always the conclusion starts with, in the final analysis, my fellow Toastmasters, apples are so much better because they are blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Thank you. Back to you, table topics master. So that's a structure that you might want to think about and use. It's a simple structure and it generally works for most table topics. So I hope I've supplemented Alan's excellent review of how to structure your table topics answers. Thank you. I hope I've answered your question, Placido, sorry. Back to you, Ling Ling.
Thank you very much. Comments from both Alan and Hary. I hope that has helped you, Placido.
Thank you so much, Ma'am, and thank you so much, sir.
All right. Pleasure to be here for you. I've actually got a question coming in. A couple of people who joined this seminar, they are non-Toastmasters and they happen to have missed the beginning part about what is Toastmasters. So I think rather than me repeating what is that again, I thought that since our CGD Agus is still around and he's the best person to convince people what is Toastmaster about. Agus, could you sort of do an explanation to non-Toastmaster members? What exactly is this public speaking club? So Agus, to you.
Yes, thank you, Ling Ling. So Toastmaster slogan is where leaders are made. There are two major components that we can learn in Toastmasters. The first one is communication skill, and the second one is leadership skill. So today's event is about communication skill mostly. So Toastmaster Hary give us some tips and tricks on how to deliver a technical presentation, but still keep it interesting. Even though we have so much data to present, but Toastmaster Hary managed to make it interesting and make all of us engage with the presentation. And for me, the first time I know Toastmasters is I thought it is about public speaking only. So I joined Toastmasters to conquer my fear of public speaking. And by attending so many meetings, I managed to control and manage my fear of public speaking. But as time goes by, I can see that the curriculum of Toastmasters are very plenty and I can learn a lot from Toastmasters. So even though I've been in Toastmasters for 4 years, I stayed and I didn't leave after I managed to conquer my fear of public speaking. I've met so many Toastmasters members who stays in Toastmasters for more than 30 years, 30 years, because they get the benefit of Toastmasters. So overall, there are two major things that we can learn in Toastmasters: communication skill and leadership skill. Thank you, Ling Ling. Over to you.
Thank you very much. And that's from our club growth director himself. So if you're not convinced, I hope that this demo meeting could sort of show some of the things you might stand to gain from joining a Toastmasters meeting as a member. Right, I've got a reminder over here. Abel has shared the review chat in case you can't stay to the very end of the Q&A session. Do fill up the review form so that you can get the info pack and slides from Dr. Hary right after you fill it. So it's an instantaneous process. Now, moving on, we do have this question floating in the chat box by Wuryani. So Wuryani is saying that they're a lecturer and teaching's done virtually. So how do you get people interested when you're delivering the materials? Or how do you know people are actively joining the class? So I think this is the perfect for Dr. Hary. Some advice to keep students excited and active in a virtual classroom. So over to
Okay.
you, Dr. Hary.
Thanks, Ling Ling. Hi. So I lecture in 2 universities in Indonesia, and I have the same problem. And I have very specific practical advice for you. Okay. 3 things that you can do depending on whether it's synchronous or asynchronous teaching, but 3 things you can do. Number 1, use the breakout room for fun. Use the breakout room. Why? Because the people who keep staying in the main room didn't go to the breakout rooms. They are not listening to you. So very quickly, you can have a list of students or participants, for example, who didn't listen to go to the breakout room. So that's one quick indication. Catch hold of them and say, hello, you didn't go to the breakout room. Are you there? And then you can deal with that issue. The second thing that you can do is to ask them to use an icon. Let's say it's too difficult to use the breakout rooms. You don't want to set up anything. You can simply say this, and let me show you how it's done. Now listen, everyone. If you are still paying attention to this presentation, can you please give me a heart icon? Come on, everybody. Give me a heart icon. An icon. Thank you, Evel. Thank you, Rafin, Aaron. Adi, are you there? Adi Santosa, Yosini Deliana. I do not see your icon. Hello, I'm going to contact you again in 5 minutes to see if you are there. So that's a simple way to find out. Now, the third thing that you can do is to obviously do some kind of formative assessment. And with the permission of Ling Ling, could I do a quick formative assessment? Right, Ling Ling's giving me the thing. So, okay, so let me show you how to run this. I've actually set it up. So let me get to my chat box. Everyone, look at your chat box now. Let me get something done. Joinmyquiz.com. Can everyone please go? Let me erase this to press this. Joinmyquiz.com. Joinmyquiz.com. Okay, can everyone please go there, please? Use either your another window or something. Joinmyquiz.com. Come on. When you are there, give me a thumbs up. 838-469. 838. Thank you. I see some people there. 838. And the quiz that you're going to do is 838-469. So 838-469. I'm going to post it. Everyone go to joinmyquiz.com and you will see a little quiz there. Good. I see lots of people going bling, bling and joining my quiz. Excellent. Come on, students, wake up. Don't be lazy. Come on. Yes, I see lots of people there. Let me share my screen and see that everyone is there. Wow, good. I'm not going to waste time because Ling Ling is telling me, hey, we don't have time. Okay, get ready to play my quiz. Let's go and see who's the fastest fingers. Let's go. And we start. Go ahead. Okay, so you can see that you will physically see on the screen whether or not the students have been listening to you, Ibu Riani, right? Because unless they've paid attention to your presentation, and I'm so glad to see that everyone here were able to answer the question. Oh my God, would have been embarrassing if nobody paid attention to knowing a word. But those are the three things I would suggest to you. So let me just be very clear. Use the
Thank you
breakout
very
rooms.
much.
Sure. Use the breakout rooms. Ask them to just post an icon. You just want to make sure that they're listening to you. And of course, you can just use a quizzes or a Kahoots. And you definitely know who's there and who's just logging on and eating their roti canai and totally ignoring your lecture. I have the same problem as well. I have the same problem. I feel for you. Okay, back to you,
Thank you
Ling Ling.
so much. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I feel like I'm learning all these new websites and apps and things like that all the time. I would like to request everyone's permission to maybe extend this all the way to another 20 minutes to the end of the hour, because I feel like we have this discussion going on and there's so much to learn. If you'd like to know more, please do stay a bit longer. Give me a thumbs up if you're okay with staying an additional 20 minutes so we can learn all that everyone here has to offer. All right, thank you very much. That is quite a resounding number of thumbs up. So I will now proceed to a couple of questions coming in from the chat. Let me just scroll up because we're having so many coming in right now. We have one from Toastmaster Matilda. Harry, get ready for this one. Sometimes I deal with audience members who ask tough questions that I cannot comment due to, for example, several reasons. For example, you can't give a personal opinion because you're representing a different body, or I mean, if she was to answer no comment, it sounds really standoffish. So is there a more cordial way to answer such questions?
I'm not quite clear about where your question is coming from. Are you saying that, for example, you're talking about apples and someone asks you a question about oranges? Could you just unmute yourself maybe so that I can understand your question? Who asked the question, Ling?
It's from Toastmaster Matilda. So.
Hi, Matilda. Are you there? Are you still here? Matilda?
She says that she can't unmute herself.
Okay.
Apologize. But she's
okay, so
typing the group chat as fast as she can.
Okay. Okay, Matilda, go ahead. Just because I can't quite understand where the question is coming from, the context of the question.
I think maybe I can comment on that. For my
Sure.
guess is that what she's trying to say is that maybe the question, you are not a person of who has the authority to answer a certain question. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. For example, he asks you about some medical stuff, but you are not a doctor. You possibly refer to a doctor to answer, right? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I've just actually, Matilda, I don't need the question. I don't need your answer. I understood your question. I just wanted to demonstrate and show you again what you should be doing, right? If you don't understand the question and you don't understand the context of the question, what you need to do, don't say no comment. That's stonewalling, but ask them to clarify the question. So you would do exactly what I did just now. I would say, well, Matilda, I'm not quite clear about what your question is. Could you elaborate a little bit, or what do you actually mean by you don't want to answer the question? I wanted to demonstrate that to you in your so when you're making presentation, don't understand the question yet. Sometimes it's not my fault, it's the person who's asking the question, right? You're very unclear. So you simply say, I don't quite understand your question. Could you rephrase that? Or what do you mean? Or you can confirm by simply saying, are you asking about? Now, coming back to Abel's clarification, what happens if it's something that you cannot comment on? And that often happens to me. People say, what about the money? What does the government say? What's the government's position on this or that? And I cannot comment because I am not from the government. And I simply say, well, I am not from the government. That is a question that should be properly put to, say, the minister. and not to me. I can only comment on this area, and somebody else needs to comment on that other aspect of this problem. But I acknowledge that you have a point, and I will certainly bring this back to the government, right? When I'm meeting with the government official, I will bring your point back so that the audience feels that you've heard, you empathize, and that at least you will try to do something. Now, whether or not you actually do it is different, but they feel that you have heard them. They've had that catharsis, I'm so frustrated. I want an answer. Why can't Hary answer me? And I simply say, it's outside my scope. Keep to the scope of your technical presentation. You really don't want to say something that's outside the scope or that you have no authority on. But don't stonewall. The worst thing you can say is, well, I'm not going to answer the question. No comment. Let's take the next questions. I mean, definitely that is not a road you want to go down to. So Abel, I hope, thank you for the clarification. Matilda, I hope that I've answered your question. Sorry, one more rider. Let's addendum this. If you don't know the answer, we're not an expert in everything. And if you don't know the answer, just be honest. I never lie. If I don't know, I just say, I don't know. Or somebody else is more qualified than me. So I don't know your answer, but that's an interesting question. Can I get some insight into why you're asking the question? So you might want to say, and then let the person talk so that they feel the time, it's not so abrupt. So if ask me a question and I say, I don't know, have them speak. Let the person who's asking the question, then have the floor to elaborate. And then it's an insight for you as well. I take every learning experience when I am lecturing or I am doing a presentation, I take it as a learning experience as well, because I want to hear from my audience, because that enriches my experience. Right, that's for me. Thanks, Abel. Thanks, Matilda. I hope I've answered you in some way. Back to you, Ling Ling.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm just writing down these tips, because you never know what kind of questions you ever get from the audience. It's a varied bunch. I remember there was one time I was doing that project about difficult audience, and one of them tried to psych me out by asking what's my favorite vegetable. And you never know what you'll get, honestly, in an audience.
Well, I hope you simply said broccoli. Now can we get back to focus on my presentation?
Yeah, I did. I just went, sambal, and I like sambal. Next question, please. Something more relevant.
Well done, Ling Ling.
What can you do? But yeah, I mean, the next one is an interesting one, and I think this is something that all of us as Toastmasters has felt when we join, and it's, are there any techniques for beginner speakers on how to face panic attacks or channeling the energy of adrenaline rush? I think any of us can answer this, but I would really like to hear from someone who has contested, who has faced the stage and the adrenaline and felt the rush. And I think you know where I'm going with this, and it's Natalie. Natalie, I can see you, and I hope you can answer this one. What do you do with panic attacks and feeling adrenaline? Channel that positively.
Wow, thank you, Ling Ling. This is another table topic question for me because I didn't expect to get this. Okay, great. Good questions from, I think it's Bintang. For me personally, I think competition is not just about competing on your content or on your, speaking skill. It's more about mental preparation that really counts. So my tips for you is, first, you need to know yourself. You need to know what will make you feel relaxed. You need to know how far you want to take it to prepare yourself, to feel energetic, to feel engaged, to feel like you're ready. And then after you know yourself and you know what works best for you, then you can prepare yourself accordingly. A lot of people think that people just go on a contest and then, whoa, she wins. She must have all the talents in the world. Let me tell you, talents are common, but hard work is rare. And launching back to what Hary just said, it's all in practice, practice, practice. So know yourself, know what works best for you, and prepare yourself accordingly. And at the end of the day, it comes down to practice, practice, practice. That's the thing.
Well said, Natalie. And it's not easy. Amazingly, that no pauses, no blanks at all. I mean, practice makes perfect, but any tips for making sure that everything goes really smoothly? So, Dr. Hary, to you.
Thank you for the question. And basically, how do you prepare? The question is how you prepare. And I have a system because I do this very often. I did a presentation yesterday and I did a different presentation on Thursday and Wednesday. I'll just share with you how I actually prepare. Now, the first thing that I always do is to sit down and look at the topic. What does the audience want? So I know what the audience wants. I sketch an outline of it. Once I've got the outline of it, then I do my research. I've researched it. Now I have an outline. Now I start making my slides. Once I've made my slides, I then do what I call a technical run through. I literally run through the technicals. This slide, what am I going to say? And I do it slide by slide, right? I know I don't look at it as a 45-minute presentation. I look at it in terms of 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, just literally slide by slide. Now, once I'm happy with the slide by slide, I then do a run through where I actually verbalize what I want to say. I just go through it once. I don't write my speeches, to be honest. Everything's very impromptu. I really have never written a speech before. So once I've done this technical run through, I then put it to bed. I don't look at it again until cigarette in my mouth, and then I'm smoking and I'm literally going through it again. So it is practice, practice, practice. But how you practice and how I practice, you have to find your own level. Different people are going to approach it differently because I do so many of these. So I really don't have the time to spend, but I wouldn't, but approach it. The theme is approach it piecemeal. Don't try to do the entire speech at the first go. Really do it slide by slide. Know what you want that slide to say and know what you are going to say when that slide is up on your screen, right? And go that way. So that would be my advice. And don't sweat the small stuff. If you make a mistake, just go, nobody knows anyway. No one was at your rehearsal. Who cares? As long as the audience is smiling and they got something, and I know that after doing my quizzes, you still can answer the question. I know that you were listening to my knowing a word, and I know you got something out of it. So that's enough. Don't try. It's never perfect. It will never go as planned. And just don't sweat it. Just shrug your shoulders and just move on to the next presentation. That's it from me, Ling Ling. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Hary. I think it's safe to say that no matter how natural something looks, rest assured that lots of prep goes behind the scenes. Nothing is natural on purpose when it comes to public speaking. Right, I know I said that was the last, but there was another question. And I feel it would be remiss of us to just ignore it like that, especially when Adam has gone through the trouble of typing the whole thing out. And this is about spontaneous speech. Well, I could give this to Natalie, but since Alan answered the first spontaneous question, I'd like to direct this back to Alan. So when you get an impromptu speech for a competition and you don't actually understand the word, how do you then proceed to actually speak? And then I feel this is perfect for you. I mean, like, not understanding what you're supposed to be talking about. I mean, you probably went through situations like that before. Alan?
Thank you, Ling Ling. In fact, I went through this competitions. Question was being asked to you. You don't quite understand the question. What do? First thing, start scolding people. I'm being very human, okay? You don't say it out, but deep in your heart, you're like, what kind of question is this? It is okay to doubt it. Nobody would admit they went blank, but I'm telling you, I went blank and I was thinking, why in the world do they ask me this question? I don't even understand the quote. Now that is competition. But competition aside, I think when it comes to table topic competitions, there's an element of luck in there. Because if you don't know the question, you don't know the question. There's nothing you can do. I won't sound smart by telling you that, oh, if you don't know the question, this is what you should do and try to act smart, because no, you make yourself look dumb. But outside of competition, let's bring it to more practical. It is only in Toastmasters that we talk about competitions for table topics. I think this is a understatement of the importance of impromptu speeches. In our real life, there are more table topics that we need to win. In contests, if you don't get it, you don't get it. Move on. Wait for next year, and you tell yourself, in the next 12 months, I'm going to improve my language, and I'm going to listen and learn more quotes. But in real life, if a question has been asked to you, don't know the meaning of it, like what Hary have shared with us, ask them to clarify. I mean, you can try to ask for clarification during contest, but I'm pretty sure that the contest master won't answer you anything, but no harm trying, right? So contest-wise, nothing much you can do. You just have to tell yourself, come back next year and do better. In real life, clarify. This is how I would do it. Back to you, Ling Ling.
Thank you so much. To put in the context, Alan is the district director, so he gets shot question by question all the time. So I think that's a valuable feedback we'll get from him. Right, that we've come to the end of the session. I know I've shared the link just now, but just to reiterate you, if you haven't filled the form, this is the time to do it. Look at how welcoming Dr. Hary is looking at you on the screen right now. He wants you to scan that code. He wants you to get his material. So do scan it, fill in the review form, and then you will get his slides and his wonderful ebook, which he has provided to us for free today. So if you haven't had enough of Dr. Hary, you want to read his words, just scan that and you will get that. There was also a comment in the chat that I noticed. Someone was asking whether this whole session is recorded. You can find it on Facebook. It's being recorded on Facebook Live right now. So if you feel like you haven't gotten enough on to hear everything again, just go on there and you could just relive the whole Dr. Hary experience one more time on Facebook. So that's all the time we have, unfortunately. I've had a blast, don't know about you, but I've enjoyed myself immensely. Thank you for all the wonderful sharing sessions from all the thought leaders that have attended this meeting today. If you want to know more about Toastmasters, do stay behind, and we're more than happy to answer any of your questions. That's it from us today. Have a great weekend. Thank you. We can all unmute ourselves now. I mean, I really don't like talking to myself to a screen like this. I can see everyone's face, but I prefer it if there was a dialogue. It gets pretty lonely talking to myself.
Do you have a group photo, Ling Ling?
Yeah, sure, we can do another one. We can do another one. We had one just now before the break, but I think another one to celebrate the people who made it to the end would be great, honestly. It was supposed to be 2 hours, but look at us. We made it to 3. This is dedication, folks.
Okay, everyone, please turn on your video. I will take picture. So we have 3 pages, but I think just 1 page is have people with turn on. So we have the last photo for this meeting. 1, 2, 3. Okay, done. Okay, now back to Ling Ling.
Thank you very much, Denny. Yeah, I've had so much fun. Thank you for letting me get to know everyone here. I hope we do keep in touch even after this meeting. I mean, 15 countries, no mean feat, no mean feat. Thank you to Miranda. That's some heavy marketing you did there.
And thank you, Miranda, for the ebook. You've made it look palatable.
Thank you, thank you. I enjoyed making it like that.
I think for the guests, maybe you can comment how you felt about the whole training, the seminar, and we are okay to open for question or try to answer if you have any question about Toastmasters.
Yeah, actually, there was a question from Chuchu. Are you still there? Chuchu Saputra. Chuchu wants to know how to join and what's the cost. Or Thomas Chuchu Saputra from Bandung. Are you still there, Chuchu? Okay, well, I kind of like answered him. So who's left?
Oh, yeah, I saw the question in the group chat. Did he actually manage to, get through, and then you answered him sort of?
A bit, but not much. It's hard to type things, like it would be rather more, I guess, clearer if you can actually converse, right?
Yeah.
And Placido, yeah, go ahead.
Maybe I can handle the question about the cost to joining Toastmasters.
Yeah, sure. Go, by all means.
Yeah. So Toastmasters, the cost to joining a Toastmasters program is very affordable. In Malaysia, the cost of joining Toastmasters is about RM1 a day. It's about 3,000 rupiah per day. Now imagine about joining a Toastmasters, joining a public speaking training program. It can easily cost $1,000, RM1,000, RM2,000. Costs a lot of money, but in Toastmasters, the good thing is that you get to join a club, a very less threatening environment, whereby everyone is very positive, even you suck, and the worst, one of the member, the worst COI member, now many years ago, was that when he joined, when she delivered her first speech, she was speechless. Now, how do you evaluate a speech that the person doesn't even talk? So even in that situation, we could see how the Toastmasters managed to transform the person. And eventually, she became a teacher. You can imagine how it can change a person. So the cost is really low. You pay only as cheap as RM1 per day, for your education. So it's about 45 USD half yearly, so $90 USD for the whole year. And different clubs, because there are other costs to it, maybe hotel, and so maybe they mark up and charge more. But overall, it's still very affordable, and you are surrounded by right-minded, positive people who help you to progress and do well in your presentation. Yeah, so that's all for me. Yeah.
I completely agree. That's 90 USD for the cost of education, for the cost of community, for the cost of mentorship, for the cost of resources to become a better communicator and leader. So that's a pretty good deal in my book. It's the reason why I think a lot of us have been Toastmasters for a while, because we see the value of it beyond the initial 90 USD cost. Someone's asking, Zulfa is asking about Samarinda. Any Toastmasters Club in there? I think this
can answer that.
I'm assuming Samarinda is.
Yes, Silva. Where's Silva? We don't have a club in Samarinda yet. We do have a club in Balikpapan. But for places where there are no close Toastmasters clubs, I invite you to join an online club for now, which means that you can visit hundreds of clubs within this area, Brunei, Malaysia, and Indonesia, and also thousands more around the world because of COVID. So a lot of clubs are now online. Does that answer your question?
What about the membership fee?
Okay, the membership fee just explained by Abel, but I will explain that in terms of Indonesian rupiah.
Yeah.
So it comes to about 3,000, a little over 3,000 rupiah per day. But in the total, you would pay $45, which is about $1 million for over 6 months, every 6 months. And to join the first time, you will have a joining fee, Toastmasters joining fee, which gives you your first manual for another about 300,000. So let's say your first investment would be 1,250,000 or 1,300,000 rupiah, and then after that, every 6 months you pay about a little over $1 million rupiah, and you can visit any clubs you want, but you will belong to one club in particular. And for now, you can join on online clubs that we have, a few clubs that we have. Does that answer your question, Silva?
Okay, what the payment? The payment through
bank transfer.
Bank transfer.
Bank transfer, and then we have a treasurer in our club that will convert that into payment to Toastmasters International.
Okay, thank you, Miranda.
You're most welcome, Silva. Are you from Samarinda, yeah?
Yes, Samarinda.
Wonderful. We'll send you some information about club meetings. All right?
Okay, thank you.
And Placido, are you still there? Are you still interested in Toastmasters? Placido, you're from Balikpapan, right?
Yes, right now I'm in Balikpapan, but soon I'll be leaving now Balikpapan. I'll be going now to another country.
Yeah.
So if I'll be a member, am I still be recognized as a member of the
Yes.
Toastmasters?
Yes. So let's say you join any club right now in District 87 where we are now, which is Indonesia, is Malaysia, and Brunei. And then you move to another country, they will recognize that, right? And then when it's time for renewal, then you can decide whether you want to continue with your home club, so to speak, the first club that you join, or transfer your membership to the new club or to the club where you're going to live in.
Where if I will transfer to the place where I will be living in, okay, will there how is that? Will there be another fee, or will that be
you will not, yeah, I understand your question. You will not pay the joining fee, which is about $20 or 300,000 rupiah, because that's a one-time fee, but you will still continue to pay the 6 monthly fee wherever you go in Toastmasters.
Okay, thank you so much.
Where are you from, Placido? I mean, originally.
I'm from the Philippines.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Okay.
And how much longer are you going to be in Indonesia?
Oh, my contract ends in June, last week of June.
This month?
Yeah,
this month.
This month.
Okay. Where are you going?
No idea. It depends. It depends on the assignment that I'll be getting.
Well, in the meantime, we will be sending information about club meetings and stuff like that. So you can just join as a guest.
Okay, I will be very grateful.
Chicken soup with radish.
Okay, you prepare everything already? Almost done.
Hi, Luis.
Almost done.
Luis forgot to mute himself.
That's some chicken soup there.
I forgot to mute.
Please send the lunch to Brunei too. Thank you.
And to Indonesia too.
One portion for Bandung, please.
Question from Bandung?
Well, if nobody asks question, I have a question. All right. Nobody has a question. All right. My question is for Toastmaster Hary. Putting you on the spot again, Hary.
Yes.
Hary, you said you're living in Bandung and you would not want to live anywhere else in the world. Would you
absolutely.
share why? Why that? I mean, I've been to Bandung and I didn't get that feeling.
Well, that's because you never came to my house.
Well,
Miranda.
Then.
Well, I will tell you that I've lived in multiple countries, in multiple cities. Bandung has
I'm
the
so
perfect
curious
weather.
about this.
It has perfect weather. It's got great food, great people. It's got all the things that I like. So I like the outdoors. I like running. I like volcanoes. I like golf. I'm an avid golfer, and I love it. And it's close enough to Jakarta. So anytime I feel I don't want that kampong thing, and I want a little bit more cosmopolitan, I can either take a flight directly to Singapore, or I can get in my car and drive to Jakarta in 2 hours. And then I can have that nice city experience, and then come home and have that nice cup of coffee and cigarette while looking at Tangkuban Perahu and the sepoi-sepoi of that wonderful Bandung wind run through my veins. And that's why I live in Bandung. I'm retired. Just in case everybody thinks that I'm like a young man. I don't know if anyone. I'm 59 years old. I'm 59. Okay, I'm a kakek. I'm like old man. I'm an old man, and I am retired. I'm a bad example of a retiree because I work so many. If you look at my LinkedIn, I have too many jobs for a retiree. People have one. I have like 10 jobs or 12 jobs, but really I'm retired. And I take care of myself a lot. So it's a lot of golf, it's a lot of diving, it's a lot of good food, it's a lot of cooking, it's Brazilian jiu-jitsu. It is just fabulous to live in Bandung. And I don't want to live in Jakarta, and I don't want to live in Bali. I've lived in Bali before, Miranda. And I went into that whole cycle of seminyak, over drinking, overeating, hedonistic, and it didn't work for me. So I've had the Bali experience. I've lived in Bali. 6 months was all
Yeah, I
would
wouldn't
take.
call living in Seminyak an example of living
Yes.
in Bali.
No, it's not.
Because I could
It's
say the
far
same
from
thing about my place. But Seminyak does not represent Bali at all.
No.
I
But
accept
I got,
the answer.
yeah, I got caught in that whole
All right.
every day drink nasi goreng, going surfing, and then drinking, coming home at 3 o'clock in the morning. That whole lifestyle did not work for me as a retiree. That's why I left
Okay.
it.
Yeah, you can ask me. Does that answer your question?
Does that answer your question, Miranda?
Yes, satisfactorily, Harry. All right. I think, we're way past time. I mean, it's fun just to hang out, and everybody's just, I don't know, I think we're enjoying ourselves. I think we are just amongst us right now. I think we did a fantastic job. Do you guys agree? Right? We show the world that quality content that we can provide, and we run it very professionally so that people know, okay, Toastmasters is an organization to reckon with, and I'm proud to be Toastmaster. I don't know about you guys. And thank you, Harry. Thank you, Ling Ling. Thank you, Alan. I mean, you guys are just amazing. Like somebody said, Alan, Abel, who said that we're like the SWAT team, the SEAL team, the best of the best. So let's take that in. Okay, and I saw in the review, some people are already asking like, yes, waiting for the next ones. So that's, I will share with you guys the review soon, and that would be interesting to read and enjoy, right? We got 37 so far. And considering, I think almost 70 people stayed to the end, this is amazing. We had about 220 something registrations, and almost 80 people attended at various times. So that is almost 40% of conversion, which is great. Like considering, many others have a lot more registrations and only a few showing up. So we did a great job, and yeah. I'd like to hear comments from the team, the organizing team. what do you guys think? How do you feel about this? And
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the session. Thanks, Harry, for putting up a very interesting presentation. And I think I really hook up. I mean, everyone is hooked to the presentation. And I think now having done once, I think the momentum now is stronger. And I think it's easier to replicate. Of course, the marketing needs more energy and more time. And then one of the suggestions is that we should document down the platform, how we do the forms, all these things, so that when the next team actually they take off, they want to organize certain thing, they don't start from zero, they don't start from scratch. They could very quickly, come to a level like what we have done. And yeah. And yeah, thank you everyone for really sacrificing your time and your effort. Much appreciated. Yeah.
all right. Anyone else? Harry, how were you with all this?
I'm happy, and I would like to do my personal thanks to everyone who made me sound so smart and made me sound so hardworking. I'm not that smart, and I'm certainly not that hardworking. I wouldn't have made the ebook myself. I just simply write. And Ling Ling, I think, did an amazing job. I mean, she's not here anymore, but she did an amazing job, I think, keeping everything. I thought there was such synergy between her and me, and I just liked the whole flow of it. As always, I've taken part in like hundreds of these things, and this is a memorable one. I will remember this because it's really fun. It was really fun. Thank you so much to Toastmasters for giving me that opportunity and for putting your faith in letting me be the presenter. I have no idea why. I didn't know it was going to be so big with people from 15 countries. When Miranda first asked, Miranda just said, oh yeah, can you do this thing? It's going to be a joint division thing. And I'm like, yeah, okay, why not? And then suddenly like, oh my God, you're having people from everywhere. Good Lord. And it's so funny when you see your face pop up in all my social media. I'm looking at WhatsApp, like, why am I getting a WeAr group about my speech? So that's very effective. It's just a shame that we didn't have more participants, but thank you everyone for giving me this opportunity. It's fantastic. Thanks, Miranda. Thank you, April. Thank you, everyone in the room.
Yes. Actually thinking about not as many people coming up, I was looking at the analytics, and we have almost 600 people actually viewing the form. So yeah, there are many.
Also lots on Facebook.
Yeah.
Lots of people on Facebook, probably.
So it's 700 views. So the number of times the form has been viewed is 600 views, and then 593 people actually look at the form. I think some people repeat it. And we will share later in the debrief how many people stop where so that we know how to improve our forms. And yeah, they actually stopped, can you believe this, with the question, are you a Toastmaster? So
Can I,
like our most important question, right? Yes,
can I
Louis.
just share? I got 2 Bintulu guests already confirmed. They will join my Toastmaster Club on next Wednesday. One is Adam, the table topic speaker just now,
Yes,
Adam,
yes.
and another one is Hui Jin. I met her through the breakout room just now, so I got 2 in the back.
Good luck, Luis.
Yes,
Alright.
I think the Division E team worked very hard, with the WhatsApp. I think more than the Division G, because we don't get as many guests for some reason. But yeah, kudos to you. You guys are small, but you work very hard and together. So I'm very happy to see all that.
All right, thank you.
Yes. Look at Luis's smile. You're so happy.
Yes.
Maybe the next time when we do it, we should do it at night time. Maybe they will attract more people.
Yeah.
Just a guess. I think the timing, like some people were saying that they are halfway working, but they're actually watching our.
Yep, correct.
Yeah.
But my friend actually joined in, but at the halfway mark, I think it's around 11. Then he said he need to go and open his shop, so he need to leave. So I was like, okay, thank you for the 1 hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very excited about, like, you know, the possibility of repeating this and improving on what we've done. So that would be inherited by Ling Ling and Purwanto and Luis. You guys can take over and we just support. So who else is still there? Denny's still there. My God, there's still, Adam is still here.
Adam's still here.
Yeah, Agustinus, are you here? We'd love to hear from you. And what was your...
Yes, Miranda, I'm here.
Yes. Comments, please, and feedback.
Yes, we have conducted several events this term, and this is one of the events that was well prepared. So I can see how much effort, energy, thoughts you guys put in this event, and well done to all of you. I can see, even though the attendance are less than the past event, but this is an effective event. And like Luis said, that you invited your network and your friend are joining the Toastmasters. Yeah, this is a well organized and well thought event. So thank you very much, team, for organizing this event. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I think we're getting a bit out of steam by now. And thank you, Luis, for changing the name of the group even now. Field team.
Okay.
Yes, let's.
If anyone
don't
have anything, then I will end it on a high note with some music.
Yes. Great. Thank you, everybody. It's been a pleasure. And I'm very energized right now. So that's always a sign of.
Thank you everyone. Thank you, Miranda.
Danny, what about Danny? Oh my God, Danny had to work so hard too. Danny,
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Hary. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.